we go. Got Micky the Rat, dude. Fucking little bastard. Micky the Rat. Fucking jerk. I like how my Instagram fucking lunch break stream, I was like talking like 20 minutes about Micky the Rat. And of course, I start this shit and this little fucker's all over here doing his damn thing. I'm gonna get up and see where it specifically might be. All these. Yeah, you're back there. Man, you are a prick. You're starting to be a prick. I'll tell you what. Fucking Micky the Rat, dude. Micky the fucking Rat. Doing his goddamn thing, fucking scurrying around everywhere. Brick. Oh. Oh. My God, I really kind of find it ironic that I was talking about this little shit on lunch break earlier during the Insta stream. And of course, now here he is, rummaging around everywhere. I'm just glad it's just only the one fucker. But If I kind of get him back in the house, I want to relocate that fucking son of a bitch and get him somewhere else. Or just say fuck and keep him as a pet in the sense of just like have a little cage, like an enclosure for him. You know, for like rodents or something. Just keep him, I guess, at that point. Because, like, fuck, bro. He truly is an annoying little fuck. Especially when I'm hearing him rummage around everywhere. In a sense, because, like, I just wish he'd just be used to, like, just me. Because at this point, I keep just saying, every time I see him or I hear him scurry around, I'm just like, Micky, come on. Just fucking give up, or, well, not give up, but just something. Just give me a little something here. Aye, bro. He's a little sneak. Honestly, this little fucker teleports, I swear. He's a little teleporter, bro. Go Micky the Rat. Oh. Tutontonioski and Micky the Rat. Those two bastards ever come near the Calhoun family again, we'll whack him out and take a band of shit. Oh. Serious folks. Wait, huh? So I watched the last 10 episodes of season Power Rangers, and so my wife fart those. I see Billy come back on that side, so it shows homophobic history with them. There's Power Rangers has no fucking room to have any homophobia anywhere when it's like one of the most gayest fucking things aesthetically. Okay? Say what you want about it, love it, hate it, whatever. It don't matter. You have to admit it is unironically some like hardcore aesthetically gay looking shit. I'm just gonna be blunt on that one. I mean, it doesn't mean it has to be bad. In fact, I don't care about that. I just think it's a little amusing. Just because of, I mean, you know, like, I don't know, like, there is something about it where it's just, like, there is, like, a little hint of like, some that 90s, like, that's good kind of vibe to it. Just a smidge. Sentai looks less gay, IMO. Well, it proving my point, right? It's more serious about itself. I think that's, well, hence why it's kind of the point. Mm. David's last full season PR was where he left the show towards the end because he was constantly being called an F-slur by the production cast. Fucking really, dude. Well, that's fucked. I mean, it's one thing if, like, it's just, like, you know, you got, like, someone taking a jab at you or whatever every now and then. It's still annoying and really shitty, but at least, like, you can kind of deal with that. When it got everyone being like, it was a you know, like, constantly, and they're supposed to be, like, your co-workers and your cohorts and shit. Yeah. Spawn want to pay him fairly because he was gay. Oh, well, just, man. Oh, I wonder why Pride's a thing. To all the weird conservative chuckle fucks, I wonder why Pride is ever a thing. You fucking kidding me? Is he moving over here now? There's going to be a constant back and forth about this fucking rat, by the way. According to him, fellow actors were fine, just production crew and Saban were horrible. So Saban and basically just mostly the production crew, but at least like the actors, well, you know, that makes sense. Thespians, you know, like there's a lot of like kind of flamboyantness, you know, within thespians and you know, like in drama classes and acting and shit. Like pretty much anyone who's especially done like playwrights and things like that will straight up tell you that. It's actually a repeating pattern of PRS because he get paid as bad as Saban's an ass. Well, it sounds like Saban needs to fuck off and not like it seems like he's the core root of the problem here at this point. Or I guess was. Sold the show to Hasbro. Oh, well, shows you what fucking little I know about it. I mean, I've seen Power Rangers before, but honestly, growing up as a kid, I didn't really, just because the uncle was just like, it's a gay. So, I did have a, like a Game Boy Power Rangers video game. Forgot what it's called. But I know it was like a Power Rangers game. I like that. Cause it was just I don't know, like, stereotypical, like, fucking, you know, 2D platform fighter game. Doc of the Lazy Sunday MC. That's it. Lazy Sunday. Before Micky the Rat. Because he's just fucking has a quick turnaround. Show in Portland Friday, then in LA tonight. Yeah. Yeah, Lost Mountain Blottos, like, they got a fucking, like, hardcore, like, connection with the LA punk scene. And, like, some of the other ska and punk scenes, and at least mostly on the West Coast, because they're trying to, like, you know, put, like, the PDX influence and like, ska and punk, like, and kind of branch out the scene more. They've honestly been, like, fucking, like, the spearhead in a way, like, in reviving the punk scene around here, because a lot of shows that I've been noticing, you tend to have their name involved in some way. Usually as, like, you know, either just by word of mouth of getting, you know, people out to these shows, or, you know, because they, you know, like, get together with other bands and, you know, get a show going. Getting into Screamo. What type? Because there's only, like, like a certain type of Screamo that I'm, like, not really into. Screamo, okay, see, like, that's like the only Screamo I'm not really a fan of. It just feels like, I'm just gonna be honest, it feels like kind of whiny screaming. You know, almost. Rip, I don't like Screamo at all. Well, it just depends on, to me, it depends. Like, I mean, I like it. I like screamos and growls and shit like that. But, I mean, there's definitely a style to it. I like whiny. Well, see, I don't like that style. I don't, like, I mean, well, I shouldn't say I don't like, I won't say I, like, don't like it, but it has its fucking place. And I mostly you know, Screamo also kind of died. I don't think I've heard that since high school. Yeah, like the whole Screamo emos like thing is. I mean, honestly, like if there's any genres that are kind of making like a like a comeback or at least popping up again a little bit, if like a new wave or at least new waves would probably honestly be like punk, rap, hip hop, and kind of like the more general, broader like scenes from there. Like that's what it really kind of seems like to me, because like I'm like I try to kind of keep my uh, ears and eyes kind of low to this type of shit. Thrash, yeah. I mean, at least when it comes to thrash metal specifically, yeah, because it has a heavy tie-in with punk. A lot of thrash bands, will like join up with like heavier punk bands and shit. So, I mean, yeah, I would say that is another thing that's happening. Future rock, but well, that would just be rock, but like that's just that's really more a theme. That's a theme that they just happen to take, which is futurism and stuff like that. And it's not really like a genre. I mean, they would just be like hard rock metal. I mean, well, I don't know, I'll say Starset's metal. Kind of like a mixture of like alt and power metal in a way, because they definitely have kind of like that kind of like power metal-y esque kind of riffs occasionally. Kind of got like that power metal thump a little bit behind the alt, kind of like rhythmic, kind of like tonal feelings and everything that they have in their music. I'm trying to think of some other like genres that are kind of like making a little comeback, or at least kind of pump, like kind of popping a little. Because I mean, I won't say like these type of genres are like making like a comeback as like they're exploding, but outside of like hip hop, rap, and stuff like that, it's not my main focus. But I will dibble dabble at least just to kind of see what's kind of hip, so to speak. And yeah, like I guess maybe like elements of fusion, but that's just kind of like that can kind of go all over the place. I mean, if anything, like like I was saying from earlier, like with thrash kind of popping up a little bit, because punk has been kind of like ties itself pretty well with that. It's always been consistently underground. Yeah, punk has always been like that, but I mean, you remember, like, for a short time, like, Portland didn't really have anything going on for, like, punk or any underground scenes for a minute there. Like, I mean, there was while we were in high school and left high school, but after that, like, a lot of the people that were initially organized on a lot of these things just kind of moved on or infighting or whatever the fuck, and then eventually, nothing really happened, and COVID hit. And then I'd say, like, that kind of sparked, a little sense of angst and energy in people, and now I've been like popping up, a lot lately, because a lot of these, bands that like Lost Small Balls, for example, are post-COVID bands. Like a lot of them, formed and started either just before or just after around COVID happened. Punk has an ebb and flow, and sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's good. Well, sure. I mean, what the fuck? You can say that about any fucking genre, to be honest with you. I mean, punk, rock, metal, shit. Like, I mean, say country up until, like, corporatization of country. When you had, like, the OG, like, types like Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, and shit. But, I mean, all in all, though, like, like, every genre has had at least some variation of, like, ebbs and flows. Country's just trash, I'm sorry. You don't have to like it. I'm using that as an example. It's like probably one of the few genres that probably hasn't really had a strong ebb and flow. Okay, sort of structure of country music. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, it just depends on the artist for me. Like, when it comes to country, like, I'm artist specific there. Like, very artist specific. Like, it has to be like a Johnny Cash or Wheeler Walker Jr., like Hank Williams, or, some shit like that. It has to be, like, very specific. It can't just be, like, some bullshit like, got a Bud Light in between my legs as I drive my F-150. Jesus, take the wheel, cause I can't deal with my wife fucking black men at their home. Or some shit, I don't know. I can't believe like some fucking stupid yokel shit. That's just corporatized nonsense. Like, it has to be like some outcast, like raunchy shit. Because like if you listen to OG country, it's raunchy, edgy, fucking like taking it to the man, fucking songs about beating the shit out of cops, shitting on their hoods, and getting arrested by them because he shat on the hood of their car and all so shit. Like, I mean, like all that type of stuff, right? Like, I mean, so like for me, it has to be very specific when it comes to country. It can't just be just some whatever the fuck's on the radio bullshit. Because frankly, fuck that. Alcoholic Arizona doesn't do it. It's too weak. Yeah, it's like 4% or something. Try the alcoholic Jarritos. Those things are good.
I don't want to go back there tonight.
I'm already hearing the shenanigans of fucking Micky back there, okay? Like, I want to mess with him.
Yeah, he chased the mouse, and then I was wondering, how come the good ladder's back here and this wimpy, wobbly ladder's up there?
Fuck if I know. I think metalcore is popular in some areas, just not Portland. Yeah.
But not now.
Yeah. Metalcore is actually, I would say, like, out of, the metal genres, tends to be pretty consistent in a lot of places, but Portland is, like, the one place where it hasn't really. I mean, it's got its self, like, planted here, but it's not really big. If anything, they're there mainly because there's already, like, a strong overlap of a lot of other metal genres anyway, as it is, so, chances are, like, you're, like, if you're not already, there's probably at least, like, a chance where if you go to a show, there's going to probably be, like, a metalcore band there. If it's one of the more local, shows. If it's, like, a big-name show, then probably not. But, like, for, some regional, like, show, like, let's say, like, the Twilight Cafe in Portland or something, right? Like, chances are there's an oddball chance that you might get a metalcore band there. Unless it's, like, very genre-specific, like, thrash or something, like a thrash out night or whatever the fuck, then chances are no.
Once your next day off, that would be good. So you could watch me crawl under the house. So I could get to crawling.
Wednesday or Thursday, like those are my new weekend now. So
when?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, good. That'll give me a couple days to deal with.
Google says that metalcore is popular in Texas and Missouri. Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense. Just because, like, straight up, like, most of that is probably just Five Finger Death Punch. I'm just gonna be honest. I guarantee you, like, 90% of the reason is because of that. Like, just straight up. Maybe, like, throw in a little bit of Disturbed or something in there. Some shit like that. I think Rip is low-key saying my music taste is bad. I don't think he's heard your music tastes.
I would dilemma here. Should I spray around the door so the rat doesn't get in? Or
it would be easier for him to be caught in there because there's less nooks and crannies for him to hide in.
And, or if I spray there, will he be trapped in?
I'd rather that because it'd be easier to snag. If you think about it, less shit for him to hide in when it comes to nooks and crannies. It'd be way easier. If anything, I also thought the idea of maybe trying to see if I could trap him in the bathroom. Being serious, it's a small space, he can't escape. Yeah. I'm thinking about this, and you know what? If he's in here, then fuck it. I'll just wait until he's in there and then concoct my idea. Or I could just set the trap up and just have it right in front of the door when I go to bed.
Well, apparently
it probably wasn't set right. I have it set right now, so the only thing you have to do is actually just set the trap itself. I mean, I have it set up now to where he shouldn't be able to get out.
Oh, that.
I don't want to hear a fucking excuse.
Did you get the bar for
it? It's. I said it's already set. It's fine. Oh, whatever. I
mean, it's sprung.
Well, because I have to actually set the trap.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Oh my god, I want to.
There was a little bar that went.
Yeah, it's the one on the back that Oh, you're talking about the... Oh, that...
The one that springs the trap.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, where the fuck is that?
I think I said it somewhere right around here.
Oh, my fucking God. Yeah, well, now that would explain how he got out, probably.
No, because it was sprung closed.
Okay, whatever. He needs a Chad snake. Well, then Zukov would fuck with the snake. So we're just kind of on our own having to deal with it. At least there's only one of them. I mean, so... The Serves has some songs that could be classified as woke. I'm just... Well, look, I mean, I'm just saying that as an example. Like, I actually like Disturbed a little bit. Not like, you know, a hardcore fan or, like, actively seek it out. But if there's some Disturbed on the radio or on a, you know, my fucking, like, randomized playlist or some shit, I ain't gonna fucking snub my nose at it. I'll be like, alright, I'll bop my head. Do little head bops. Bring Me to Horizon is definitely not metalcore Spotify. What the fuck? Yeah, they kind of are. Like, yeah, a little bit. You realize that bands can also, like, you know, be technically, like, you know, multi-genred. Like, for example, in Nightwish, a band that I like, you know, they initially started as kind of like a, like, in, like, kind of initially, like, kind of like a atmospherical kind of like alt metal in a way. And kind of folk metal-y. But then eventually they kind of switched it up a little bit and then started doing a lot of the symphonic stuff. And then on their once album, they kind of teetered and explored with industrial sounds and industrial metal a little bit. And then since then, it's pretty much kind of maintained more of a consistent symphonic metal vibe. But, you know, they always will, like, play around and, you know, do kind of other things and incorporate other genres into their, like, kind of root genre. And I'd say that Bring Me the Horizon is like like probably more of like a metalcore screamo, you know, mix. Which with metalcore, yeah, you can have screams and growls. In fact, a lot of metalcore has growls. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. I think Down to Sickness. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a meme song. Like it's so overplayed on the radio, like that. I'm just kind of like, I like it, but it's like I'd prefer some shit that I haven't like heard 8 kajillion times. It's such a meme song, but I do kind of like it. I listen to the radio because Portland radio is ass. It really is ass. It's really just there for fucking boomers and just truckers, I guess. I don't fucking know. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't really much of a, you know, value to it. I mean, radio is just like one of those things where it's just dying off. Give it enough time, you know, honestly, and it's basically just going to, you know, be usurped as essentially kind of like broadly, you know, as like a form of just streaming online, like, or like satellite wise or some shit, like with SiriusXM, or, you know, or like with Spotify, like, in, you know, instead of just like having the radio now, you know, Spotify's like installed in your car or some shit, you know what I mean? Or like Pandora or whatever the fuck. So, I mean, you know, it like, honestly, I mean, it's already, I guess, kind of there because of Sirius and shit like that. And plus, people just Bluetooth their fucking phones in anyway. So, I mean, it's. Oh, there, okay. I'll just.
It's up by sync with the other implements of destruction.
Implements of destruction?
Try to get that rat out.
Oh my god. You should have just woken me up and had me deal with that.
I was thinking about it. But
you should have just done it. I mean, if you said something about the rat, I'd be like, wait, what, huh? I would have woken up to that.
I'll remember that next time I'm chasing him around.
Oh my god. Honestly, you should like wake me up even before you start chasing around a little bit, just so I can just record it, watch you try to fucking like.
Oh yeah, so you can tape it and put me on YouTube. Right?
Yeah, do a YouTube short and just like.
that probably would have been entertaining.
Well, I got algorithm max,
like,
dude. Gotta do some algorithm maxing, bro. I gotta do something here. And if I'm gonna use my family as content, I might as well at least make it lighthearted instead of be a psychopath. So, you know.
because there's a good situation because I had him in the window. It's just,
I like honestly, I'm looking at that fucking window you're talking about, and how in the hell did you get him? Like, you gotta really explain that to me. How in the hell did you get him?
The window was open a little bit.
I get that. Yeah, I told. Yeah, but how did he get like trapped between that and the screen?
I took my food.
Cause this little fucker's like yay big now. How in the how's that fat fuck chunk of an ass?
I put it in the room and sit down and eat. And I'm just like, oh, wait a second. I forgot to get something to drink. So I came out to get something to drink. When I walked in the kitchen, that little fucker was on the counter up towards by the sink. And
dude, that happened last night for me when I went to bed. Same thing.
He jumped through that little crack. That the window was open, but he couldn't get out because of the screen. He started climbing up there. I go up there and it's, oh, what the fuck, shit, wait a second. So I closed the window, so he's trapped. And I'm just like, well, let's see, what are we gonna do? I know, I sit there, come out, have a smoke, thinking it's like, oh, the cage. Get him in the camp, grab a towel or whatever, and get him in the cage. Try to towel I was trying to scare him with. I'm just like, no, that's not working. So I got a whole bunch of like a handle and a broom and some other all kinds.
Oh my god!
Of destruction to try to get him out. If that's not working, okay. Close the window and just let me think now. How are we going to get this guy? Because I was worried because he kept trying to go up. And if I opened the window, I wanted him to go down into the cage.
Yeah.
So I held it open with one hand, and I was trying to poke him with the other. And I didn't want him to come out over and like jump on my head, crawl down my collar. That would have been good for you too.
Oh yeah. OMG, a rock over a mom's spaghetti, and it's good.
Oh, what would have been great was, this place had rats, and me and my girlfriend were moving out. Moving in, I forget one or the other, but I think we were about this rat was running, hiding because it didn't have anywhere to hide anymore, or something like that. But the little fucker runs up my pant leg.
What? Oh my god.
And I had a board, so this must have been hilarious to watch. I had a board, I'm like,
oh my god.
Beating on myself with the board. Trying to get this rat that's crawling up my pant leg. Shit.
Oh my god. Oh, Micky the Rat, you
Barb
fucker.
was very entertained. She was laughing her ass.
I would have been busting a gut. I would not be of any help. In fact, I probably would refuse to help.
Until he finally got out, then ran and ended up whacking him in the corner or something like that. Inside the pants leg was not so good being whacked with a stick. Finally got him, and I'm just like, and then it's like, oh, you little motherfucker. Then I just started laughing myself. Sorry, Barb sitting there busting a guy. I could, just like, I got him, and I just couldn't start laughing because it had to be hilarious. Well, it was hilarious. Yeah, first I trying to grab him with this.
That probably would have worked a little bit. Just wrap him around in it and just hold on to him.
Yeah,
like a little wrap.
But I couldn't get my hand and the towel in there.
See, I would have probably been able to I would have probably figured some shit out. So, I mean.
Then I said, I'll get the grabber tool. But there was, there wasn't, between the windowsills sticking out. get back to where the rat was. So that's, oh, a cage. Let's scare him into the cage. That's quite the adventure for this morning. I'm just like, oh, I just want to eat and go to bed. You know, I chased the freaking rat around for half an hour. My hot dog was petrified by then.
Yeah, there ain't no way that little fucker's gonna be croaking. Rats can live up to like 4 or 5 years anyway, can't they? And I know that little dude's will probably, like, probably only, well, at this point, at least 2 years old. I smell a rat. Well, I do too. Because we've been having to deal with one for kind of like a little over a year. Micky the Rat. Go fuck Micky the Rat. Honestly, like, I'll kind of be shocked a little bit if there's actually technically 2 Micky the Rats this entire time and we've been bamboozled. Like, if we capture, like, Micky the Rat, but then out of nowhere, just like, we still see one in here, I'm just gonna be like, bruh. Digging it. The vocals aren't really as doing it as much for me. Rap song should be good for metal rock. I mean, there's bands that literally just blend the two with rap rock or rap metal.
Okay, I'm gonna spray.
Took off. I don't really have much for it. Oh, I guess I do have one of these. Hey, buddy. Sit. Oh, good boy. Rat Rob died in 2000s. Nah, you just ain't know where to look. Pop Roach don't rap no more. Just talk so much of a sinner he is. So, do you think I'm talking about Papa Roach? Yeah, like he's a Christian moralist nowadays, but I'm not talking about him. And also, like, Tom Morello with, like, Rage Against the Machine, when that was a thing, until Zach De La Rocha moved to Mexico with the Zabadistas. Well, actually, I think they reunited, and supposedly Rage Against the Machine was supposed to tour, but that was before COVID hit, and then they just kept delaying it. Now I just don't think they're playing at this point. I'm not too sure, actually. I'll have to ask the Rip City about that. That's a big rock guy I know of. Well, there's others out there that do exist, and in fact, even internationally to some extent, sometimes. I mean, again, you just have to know where to look. Let's see. What else is going on for the tube man? Let's see what's happening on Doom Mountain right now. What you got here, Rip? Metal cover by Leo Moraccioli.
If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, one moment.
Are they all puppets?
Would you capture it?
Oh, I want to pull this up.
Let it sleep.
Mom spaghetti. I definitely prefer this cover more. I like the music video of these little puppets too. I'm gonna go a bit thoroughly insulted. How's it insulted? I just prefer this cover more. I mean, it's either like, I mean, how's that like being insulted? I mean, I just enjoy this cover more. And plus, I just don't like the screamo style vocals. I just like, I'm not insulted when you don't like my style of music. Like, okay, whatever. Little sensitive little baby over here. Little sensitive. Jeez. Guess they say don't lose yourself. I didn't expect a breakdown. Shit. It's kind of a cool effect. It's kind of like a simple solo, but just letting the, like, you know, distortion and a little wow wow, you know, handle it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that that little like furry puppet thing looks like it's just straight up like vigorously and violently just trying to bust a nut. I love the little use of the puppets too, honestly. Am I subscribed to them? I guess apparently I am. Busting a Nutella on a can of busting a Nutella on a can of tuna sounds painful. No, I mean, oh my god. Ooh, double whammy on the breakdown. Got another one. Shit. What the hell? Just dematerialized and collapsed. Yeah, I dig it. Oh, I can dig it. This was hard to sing being a random guy from Norway. Oh shit. It was like a dude from Norway. I was looking up what Black pantries are open and this popped up. Lamau. Wait, was it? What is it? What is this? What the what the fuck is this? What the What's going on here, dude? What's going on here? What's my boy doing? What is my boy doing? He's just sitting in the bin. My boy just be sitting in the bin. Dude, what the hell? He's just shitting in the bin. Yeah, my friend, you just be, what were you doing? Just sitting in the bin? Oh my god, have you seen that meme, dude? The sitting in the bin meme? Oh my god, okay, we gotta find it. Black market convenience store from a recycling bin? I think so. Dude, what the fuck? That reminds me, though. Sitting in the bin. Oh, well, I just called you just sitting in the bin. Hold on, I gotta do this first. Because it is in this, and I know they have an hour preview that has it in here. Here it is. Oh my god, yes. Please tell me it's literally the first thing. Oh, no, it's not. God damn it. Alright, we gotta find it. Here we go. Shitting in the bin. Oh, I just tell you, you'll just be sitting in the bin. If I can find out where the fuck it is. I sound like the toilet blowing up behind you. Because he's fucking using the water, which I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing over there. Where is the sitting in the bin? Oh, here we go. Shitting in the bin. Well, yeah, I'm just sitting in the bin.
All that rat stuff off my hands.
In my own bin on the hottest day I've ever had in England, then I'm entitled to do so.
Mate, I'm
Tell
just...
you to stop me.
No, I'm not trying
Will
to
you
stop
just stop me?
I'm not trying to stop you, mate. No, I'm
How am I
just...
supposed to swim if I can't swim in my
Man, if that's the last vestige of freedom that you have,
I want to play my fucking bin.
I turned my bin into a fucking swimming pool.
The guy never said, by the way, that he wanted you not to be in your bin.
Yeah, I don't know why the bin dude is so defensive about it. Like, the other guy not even attacked him for doing it. He just kind of remarked upon it.
Oh my god, you know what, dude? You know what? Even this guy in his bin looks a little defensive. He's like, the fuck you doing near my bin? What are you doing? What are you doing near my bin? I'm just trying to, get us a little shade and just trying to chill out and take a nap here in the bin. You got a problem, mate? Look, even he looks defensive. What's with it with dudes in the bins, being defensive about their bins?
But whatever.
Yeah, what is it, mate?
Leisure centre?
Yeah. It's
Leisure
£2.
centre?
Yeah, it's,
What bloody problem?
there's no problem.
That leisure centre.
I'm just saying you're in the bin.
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 As someone in the chat rightly pointed out, swimming usually involves some kind of motion. You're really just you're kind of soaking in the bin.
Soaking in the bin.
Soaking in trash.
Yeah, but you're in the bin.
You're in the bin.
In the bin.
You're in the bin!
That's the dumbest interaction, but I actually like this one.
oh yeah, well, what do you got to say about it? Nothing. I'm just saying you're in the bin, mate.
You know where you are? You're in the bin.
Come on over and stop me if you want to stop. I don't want to stop you, mate. I'm just saying
You're in the bin. You're in the bin.
It's not a celebration. It's not like a bit.
Celebration.
How is
I
it?
think I'm entitled to sit in the bin on the hottest day that we've ever had here in Great Britain. Oh, you're perfectly entitled. I'm just saying. You're in the bin.
You're in the bin.
It's like a Monty Python sketch, but real life.
Yeah, but
No fucks.
no,
No,
but
bots.
you're having a cocktail in the bin.
Are you having a cocktail in the bin?
Cocktail in the bin.
Yeah, I do want to fight about it.
But I don't want to fight.
Why are you sitting there waffling?
Why are you sitting there waffling?
You've got to go with all the muppets to the leisure centre. That's what you want, isn't it?
No. I didn't say that.
You did.
No.
No, he didn't.
It's some Monty Python shit.
Say
So
that.
you're arguing again.
No. I'm just.
You're trying to
He's the one being argumentative.
He's arguing with himself.
I'm don't mean
when you come in, first you say, oi, oi, what are you doing? Like, if
He didn't ask what you were doing. He said what you were doing.
I'm house,
Yeah, he didn't ask. He just simply commentated on what he was doing.
yeah,
We're not really in
Yeah.
your house.
now,
We're outside of your
Yeah.
house.
you just want to
It looks like you're on the fucking street corner.
You can't do this, you can't do that.
You didn't say you couldn't do it.
No. I'll come out, but like I don't want to fight.
Man, I gotta say something too. I've got a brown ass fucking lawn, but I also live, you know, in the drought stricken. Like, how much of a fuck up do you have to be to have a brown lawn in Great Britain where it rains fucking every single day?
That's what a lot of our grass culture comes from too. Is like they have, a lot of times people in Britain have gardens.
All right. I'm coming out.
All right, you're coming out.
Yeah. I'm...
So what's your problem? You coming out?
What's your problem?
Oh, I just want to see
You're just spoiling for a fight, dude.
You want to fight? You want to fight? I'll fight you.
I'll fight you with my little fucking martini right here in my hand, you fucking nit.
My bin.
No, I'm not moving, man.
You want to see my naked body?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See my naked body.
Are you naked in the bin, dude?
Is this courtship? Is this British courtship?
British courtship.
You want to see my naked body?
It's a real sign.
British courtship. Yo, that's so diabolical.
Man in the bin. Let his neighbors know he's available for mating.
When a British male is of mating age, he climbs into the bin.
He's approached by one of his younger neighbors who is curious, though he is defensive.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry.
You really should be, man.
Come on, if you want to fight.
Oh, come on, then.
His advance is rejected.
Oh,
He will
no.
tip the man out of his bin.
Body, come on. See?
All right, man. Come on, then.
Do what they can't do.
Come on, then.
Come on,
get out
then.
of
Don't say come on. I told you to come on.
No.
Don't say come on, I'm telling you to come on, mate.
I told you. What are you going to do?
Hey, that's alcohol abuse.
Bin.
All right, then.
What
go
are you
on.
gonna do?
You say, ah!
Then he just fucking collapses, spills his drink. Just that.
All right, then,
What
go
are
on.
you gonna do?
Just fucking fall in. Oh shit. That look of like, oh shit, mate. Oh no, Lord of mercy. Oh my god. Oh fuck, dude. Hey, you was in the bin. You were in the bin. Not anymore. Oh my god. Dude, that will never not be old, bro. That will never not be old. Oh my. Oh my god. It is sitting in the bin. All I'm just saying is, it's in the bin. Oh my god, what the fuck, bro? Oh my lord. Oh god, I love it. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Oh shit. Little pools.
Because I did lust after all my female.
So shit. The Puel be like, what was Paul doing?
They were all hot. I don't know what to tell you. They were all fucking hot. They were all at the very least like legit cute.
Huh? I don't think there's a way to go back on this, so whatever.
And I was like, fuck you, man. Okay. But that doesn't mean that because I look at them sometimes, and he was like, no, that's not it, son. That becomes feelings. Feelings becomes emotions, and emotions becomes love and marriage. You know, that's how it works, boy. Dude, my dad is fucking legitimately hilarious. I get a lot of my mannerisms from him. If you got, you know, like I said, I've chosen not to have him on any of my stuff. Just because he's an older guy, and I don't want him to have to read all that nasty shit that people will say. My dad's not like I believe everybody's going to be nasty, but I do know that there are some people that would start shitting on him to get to me, He's an old man now, and I don't want him to have to fucking deal with all that.
That kind of is unfortunate because weirdly enough, if Paul were to ever have like his pops on, on one of his shows, I would love to ask, like, hey, you were a union president once, like, what would you say, to a young pro union guy like me, to try to be proactive and like kind of like in that, same spunk that, that made y'all be a part of the union and stuff like that. I'd be kind of curious to see what he had to say because, he was a big union dude, union president for a time, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what he'd have to say about that. Come on, play.
In addition to being old, But yeah, if you guys ever did see me with him, it's kind of eerie from what people have told me. We have very similar speech patterns and mannerisms, and we look a lot alike. He's like
me and my dad look like two peas in a pod.
Short silver hair and no beard. Yeah, there would be harassment. I thought you said you were going to say basement dwellers, but yeah, there would be harassment. Yeah, I always look when creators bring their moms into it and shit, and I go like, "Ugh, bro, is that the best thing you want to be doing right now, dude?"
I mean, honestly, I don't. I mean, my dad will be in the background and stuff, but I mean, I don't actually put him on. My mom's actually straight up asked me, it's like, hey, can I be on one of your streams or something? And I'm just like, and I was just straight up telling her, it's like, look, it's a whole different ball game outside of just saying hello to somebody and thinking it's going to be a cultural little thing. Like, legit, it's a different ball game. And honestly, I just don't want you to be exposed to potential people that will, honestly kind of want to be harmful and maybe using information against you, that would, be like, form of harassment. And I don't want that. And she'll ask, well, why? And I'm like, well, you used to own a business. And frankly, I know you would probably be just like, letting the floodgates open about certain things. I don't want you to call me by my name, by the way, because I go under a specific, name, online and stuff. I would have to set certain rules, and just knowing her, she wouldn't be able to abide by them. I love her, but I just think she would just slip, not realizing it, and I'd be like, Mom, like, come on. I've even had to like kind of tell my dad, like, hey, when mentioning about certain like stories and stuff, try to refrain from saying roads, and stuff. At least when I'm doing my streams specifically, just because I don't want to accidentally dox myself or whatever the fuck, or at least give that too much of a privy information, right? Like, I'm okay with saying like, oh, I live in Milwaukee or Portland or whatever, or maybe naming like a certain business or some shit, but like. As far as that's going, like, I mean, I ain't gonna be like, oh yes, I live on like 66th Street of, 420 Dickey Avenue or some shit. It's like, I mean, I ain't gonna just be like dropping that fucking bullshit. I mean, I guess like I said, unless it's a business, like, hey, there's this really cool business, it's right off of this road or some shit. Like, I've said that before, but those are businesses. Like, they expect people to kind of know they exist and want people to know they exist. So. That's a different thing. It's more or less just like, for my shit. I just don't want that out there. And I just know with some people, even my fucking dad sometimes, and I have to remind him occasionally, be like, certain things, keep on the low ski. Again, I know I would have to kind of like, coach my mom with that. And plus, I just wouldn't want her on cam either way. Like, just because, I don't want like, people making fun of her or anything like that because of her, current ailments and, medical problems and stuff. So it's just like, I love you, mama, but there ain't no way. Like, maybe as a voice, as like a background voice, maybe, or as like a video call, or as like a voice call. Like, if I could ever set something like that up. But I would just have to let her know beforehand, be like, hey, there are very specific, like, things that you would want to avoid as a topic. Or just bring it up or even saying.
And she's a nice looking little old lady, she just looks like she's, oh, I'm 65. I'm Floobity Gibbet's mom. And I'm like, oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. How do you deal with family pressure on Father's Day when your dad isn't worth a shit? My dad is worth a shit. So I called him today. I talked to him. I called my stepdad and I talked to him. That's how I deal with Father's Day. That's how I deal with Mother's Day too. I don't do the Hallmark shit.
Oops.
I'm too old for that. I might send my mom flowers on an odd.
I mean, honestly, like, my Father's Day thing was paying for my dad's tab and forcing him to go to karaoke for me yesterday. Like, that was my gift to him. And I even told him that ahead of time. It's like, for Father's Day, I'm taking you to karaoke Saturday. You're not, you ain't, I don't give a fuck. You're doing it. He was like, all right, fine. And I forced his ass out.
Mother's Day, but I just called him, tell him I love him. Happy Mother's Day. I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, I need to do that for Mama's birthday, because that's on the first day of summer, on the 21st, and I need to start. It's like, look, I don't give a fuck how you figure it out. You're going out. You're going to karaoke with me. I don't give a fuck. You're doing it. You're doing it, damn it. Like, I'm just gonna tell her that. So next time I call her, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna let her know ahead of time. Be like, yo, you're figuring this shit out, and I don't give a fuck how you do it. Like, we're doing it, okay? Did this with Pops, and if he was able to like muster up the energy to do it himself, then damn it, I'll fucking find a way, damn it.
Did for my dad's today. That's how I treat most Hallmark holidays. I'm not big on Valentine's Day. I'm not big on this, that, and the other. To me, like, the point of those is to remind someone that you're thinking of them, that you love them, that you cherish them, that you're there for them, that you want to know that they're doing okay, right? Like, that's what it's about. It's not about, like, going out and spending $90 on a box of chocolates and a dozen roses or a fucking shaving kit and a fucking Swiss Army knife for your dad. Like, that's the capitalism worming its way into a holiday that's just about, hey, remember your family.
Remember your connections. Stuff like that. I mean, if anything, that's what it really should be about. So, being connected with your family
Hey,
and
Dad,
stuff like
I
that.
signed you up for 2 months of Manscaped. Thanks, son.
Not going to
Easier for
use
me to
it.
say, Dad, I love you. Thank you for what you did for me when I was a kid. Thank you for putting your ass on the line for me and working so hard to make sure I never went hungry. I love you very much. I'm very glad you're part of my life. That's easy. I think that's more meaningful than a shaving kit, personally, but I don't know.
I would think so. I personally would think so. I mean, because, like, frankly, I mean, who really gives a fuck about, like, some shaving kit or some shit? Like, you can literally give that as a gift any damn day. Having some, like, more meaningful as, like, it's like, hey, I love you, think about you kind of shit, that really does fundamentally just mean more than, some random little gifts. I mean, the gifts are nice, and they can be meaningful and stuff, I don't think that necessarily has to be, like, capitalism woven its way into it, though, obviously, I think it does a lot when it comes to these holidays. But, I mean, you can, like, do, like, personal creative gift. I've done that before, where, because I'm an artistic-minded person, so... like every now and then I'll like, maybe write like a, like a little poem or, just write a really nice kind of like little short story thing or something like that. Or just write a, just broadly, just a genuinely kind of meaningful note or whatever. Or, maybe doodle something or, even though I might not put like, some professional touch, or whatever, just like a simple, nice little doodle or even a couple doodles, to give or something. Like, because I've done that for my mom and I've seen her hanging that shit up and she's done that, and has given me stuff and I've done the same. So it's just like, honestly, shit like that, is more meaningful than just like, at least in my opinion, more so than, Paul said, like some shaving kit or whatever the fuck. Because like there's actually because there's heart to that. There's actual like meaning beyond just simply like I recognize there's a holiday kind of thing. Like it's sort of like instead of just going for the motion, it's like there's an actual like heart and connection with something like that.
I certainly would value that more from my child. I think my parents do. I think my parents would think, oh, how sweet, PJ sent me flowers. But I think that if I call my mama and I tell her, hey, mama, I'm thinking of you on this day, and I love you, and I cherish the time that we get together, and I hate that we don't get to see each other as much, but I just wanted to let you know you're on my mind today. I'm thinking about you, and I love you. I think my mom would rather have that than the roses. I think she'd tell you as much. And so that's what I do.
I know my mom's kind of told me as much. I mean, because, like, I even told her before, it's like sometimes I just kind of struggle with, like, figuring out, like, gifts and things for people. Especially when it comes to, like, Christmas time or, like, someone's birthday. And, you know, she's even told me, it's like, you know, and she's like, hey, I know you've done that even on, like, Mother's Day for my birthday and stuff. And look, at the end of the day, that's not what matters. Like, you know, honestly, the ultimate, like, you know, gift for me is just spending time with you and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'm just like, aw. You know, I mean, because I obviously feel touched with it. But at the same time, it just, like, kind of goes to show that really at the end of the day, the gifts and the trinkets, so to speak, all that, it's kind of secondary. I mean, again, it could be nice, but it's a secondary thing, and it really shouldn't be the ultimate. It definitely should not be the primary thing. Like, it could be like the second, third, or fourth, you know, focus, but really, ultimately, it's just like, you know, what kind of comes from the heart with that. Did my dad leave the fucking door open over here? Okay, if he bitches at me about that door being open over there, I'm going to tell him it's on him. You know what? Maybe it's Zuko.
There's no lie there. I don't lie. So.
Kofi Mod.
Bro, the fucking, like, random drive-by pedo accusation, bro.
Did someone just pedo jacket him?
Is it like, you expect me to go like, what? Man, that fucking guy. Oh, yes, maybe. Good try. It's just so weird. Like, where's your head at to do that type of shit, bro?
Dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, dude, who just does that? Oh my, you know, there was a skibbity the other night. Like, I did a fucking song, and when I came back, there was, like, some dude, like, talking about, like, Jupiter and expelling me or something, or whatever. Like, I swear, he casted, like, some voodoo spell on me or some shit. I was like, what the fuck? I was even mentioning in chat, it's like, what the fuck is this guy saying? What was he talking about? Like, it was, like, some cryptic shit, dude. It's like, what is, huh? It's like some random, like, drive-by, like, fucking out-of-nowhere weird shit. And it wasn't just, like, you know, a short little thing. It was, like, a fucking, like, a little paragraph. I'm just like, what the hell? I was so confused. I honestly have been thinking about it since then, and I still don't understand what the hell... Because it's still in the chat, like, because you can see the live chats after the stream, and I looked at it, and earlier today, I'm just like, you know, what the fuck was he trying to say? Even, like, you know, earlier today, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I still don't understand it. So weird, dude. What was it, like, people's headspaces to be that way?
Like, if you care about that type of shit, that it cheapens the genuine accusation when you're just turning it into another word that means I disagree with you or I find the way you look disagreeable. They're just trolling you, lol. No shit.
Oh, really?
I'm just wondering where your head's at when you choose that drive-by method of low-effort trolling. They love that you addressed it. I know. Can I tell you something, Big Aaron? Don't ban Big Aaron, please. Can I tell you something, Big Aaron?
Oh.
I'm 44. I started trolling at 8. I've been on the internet since before you knew there was internet. I got on the internet for the first time in 1986. I was on BBSs, playing fucking online games that were text-based, okay? I played every
single... It honestly boggles my mind that the internet has really been around that long. Like, genuinely. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, because you kind of think of the internet as, like, a thing that's only been around since, like, maybe late 90s, 2000s, etc. But, like, that fucker's been around for quite some time. I need some anti-Mother's and Father's Day gifts. Hello, Dad. I just thought I would call you to let you know I still believe you're a piece of shit and I hope you never get out of prison. There's a God and devil. I hope they reconcile over the mutual hatred of you and come to... Well, you know, honestly, you know, I think Father's Day and Mother's Day can act like that too, because for those who detest, you know, their parents and shit, maybe, you know, that could, you know, they could twist it around for that. I mean, one of them, like how that initial thing started with the dude in chat was like he was asking, it's like, how do I like deal with that with this pressure, when I don't reconcile with my dad because of what I find disagreeable about it because I think he's a shitbag, whatever, right? Like, and honestly, like at the end of the day, fundamentally, it's just like if he really is that way, because honestly, there are parents who are pieces of shit. I mean, there really are parents like that. There's the old saying where it's like, not every parent deserves a child, but every child deserves a parent, right? I think it's actually the reverse, but either way, it's the same point, right? So it's just like, like there's plenty of parents out there that are just shitbags. And, and their kids, probably absolutely have a right to fucking test them. And honestly, like, and I do believe there's a lot of parents that are just kind of in that gray area. Honestly, I'd argue that my parents are. There's a lot of flaws about my mom and dad that, for a while I kind of held, for a bit, but at this point I don't. I mean, if anything, I just kind of get mildly frustrated about stuff, but it's just like, what the fuck ever, like, I mean, they're still my parents, right? And at least, in hindsight, I can at least see that they did at least give a shit and tried, flaws and all, right? Like, and, I think there are definitely, I think, some kids out there that are kind of maybe still trying to come to terms with that a little bit, and just, are still trying to be like, I don't want to deal with the pressure of like, I have to somehow be connected with it because they're still kind of, working that out, right? Like, and, because I had to, frankly, like, I mean, I definitely had like this, I don't know, angst, I guess, just broadly to say, just for lack of better words, I guess, about, my parents and their behaviors, especially growing up and what I should have been taught or how I should have been raised in this and that, just in hindsight, thinking about mom proclivities. But, at the end of the day, like, I want to be me and who I am now if it wasn't for the fact that they did raise me the way they did, right? Like, so, I mean, granted, I think despite that, they could have been way better about different things regardless, but, what the fuck ever, we're all human, right? And that's kind of the reason why I personally want kids, because it's not that I don't want to necessarily repeat the same mistakes, I just, like, know that, I would make my own, I would have my own flaws where I just know that it would be in my best interest to just, raise a kid like that. The closest I'll ever get to something like that is, with my little fur baby, Zukov. It's like having, just, pets. That's pretty much about as far as it's going to go. I'll even adopt them later in life, like Micky the Rat over here. Wherever the fuck you are. Like, I'll even adopt his ass if we capture him. I can't believe my dad almost caught that fuck earlier today. I really wish he woke me up, bro. Like, one of the few times where where I normally don't like get woken up, where I actually would have loved to have been woken up. Dude, my primal, like, state, like, in hearing about, hey, I have a rat that we are about to catch. We got Mickey. I would have been like, Micky Rat, catch. Like, I want to harm the little guy. If anything, eventually I would have held him in my hands and just stared him right in the little beady eyes and be like, I finally got you, you little fuck. Now, you want to be chill? You want to see that I actually will maybe scratch your belly and kind of hang out with you a little bit and let you know that we're all Gucci? And maybe, I'll keep you and we'll figure something out with that. Or am I relocating you? Well, how are we doing this? I kind of give an ultimatum in a way. But, I mean, honestly, at this point, since he's been getting in the fucking house on top of just being in the garage, like, I'm starting to want to be a NIMBY on him. I'm just about to go NIMBY on his ass. You know what always sucks as a person who doesn't want kids? When people with kids force me to interact with them, like, why do y'all think this is a good idea? Basically, letting a blind guy drive. And even more when you're left with kids. Get it? Every other adult in the house leaves and you're like, hey, wait a minute, what the hell? Yeah, well, I don't really gotta worry about that as much. I mean, I do get it, especially when it comes to, like, customer service. Like, sometimes it'll happen. Like, sometimes you'll have the parent that'll be, like, trying to, like, make their kid interact with you instead of them. Which, at least that I could kind of understand and will actually let slide a little bit, because they're trying to make their kids socialize and, like, hey, you need to talk to people, you need to, like, learn like, they're actually trying to teach them stuff. Like, at that point, at least that's a learning experience for them. But, oh my lord, dude, sometimes I'm just like, it's like, every now and then, I'm just like, oh my god. Like, bruh. Like even in a grocery store, just because there's other adults around and workers too, especially, doesn't mean that we're like proximity babysitters. Like we're, dude. I saw these this is actually kind of funny. Like there was a grandma babysitting one of her grandsons, and there was this mom having her two kids at the store. The grandson was just sitting in the cart, just kind of chilling there, watching these other two kids just literally climbing on our cold case, for our sandwiches and all sorts of shit, like it's a little jungle gym. And the mom is, literally looks over to this other kid. Weirdly enough, I kind of liked it because I could tell this mom was getting stressed and, frankly, was probably wanting to pop off on the kids a little bit. And I have a hunch that I think privately, this mom probably might be a little like maybe verbally aggressive. I'm not going to assume, but I just kind of had a hunch a little. But she literally looked at the other kid and was like, see, why can't you behave like that kid? And, because he's sitting there all nice, being patient, and it's like, I don't mind y'all staying around and running around me, but, like, quit using this place as a jungle gym. It's not your jungle gym, blah, blah, blah. Like, actually, like, kind of do a little verbal flex, and the kids, got down. They actually did respond to it, but they were still kind of being rambunctious and not acting like they were listening, but they got the message a little bit. I think they noticed. They looked over and, it's kind of literally the whole monkey see, monkey do kind of meme where they saw one of them just chilling and the other two kind of got the picture. It's like, oh, I guess we're supposed to act like that. At least a little bit. So those kids kind of weirdly enough in their own way kind of met down the middle. Rebellious obedience. Yeah, in a weird way. I mean, it's honestly, and I honestly kind of commend the mom a little bit about that. That's why, I don't want to assume, because I actually kind of liked how she handled it. Because initially she was like, yo, get down, come on. Blah, blah, and was about to, kind of grab one of them by their arm and just, kind of, let them, get lowered down. And actually, I think she did do that. And, the other kid was like, it's like, no, or whatever. Obviously, it didn't, have a fit, but it just kind of went, for a minute. And the other kid got down, because I didn't want the same treatment, right? But, I think, when she turned around, was waiting her turn to, get some food or whatever. That's where she saw the other kid and realized, learning moment. Which, it's one of those, and honestly, if anything, I could just tell that she's a parent, and this is kind of what I really love about, working in customer service. You get to people watch all the time. And weirdly enough, it's kind of a fun outlet because, I do kind of like the people watch sometimes. I know Paul's mentioned it before where he likes to do that too, just because he happens to just be there as a little shadow. But, and honestly, I just kind of find it interesting how some people, especially parents, handle situations like that. Because, look, I mean, there are a lot of parents, granted flaws and all, that actually do try and give a fuck. Like that mom, for example. I can at least tell she's trying, right? And at least, doing what she can. I can tell obviously she's very stressed and all that shit. But then you just got some parents from just honestly, unironically, just for better or worse, they probably shouldn't be parents. Probably because they maybe liked the idea and they had this little fantasy in their head about how it would work, but the reality came crashing down, and then you just see this 1,000-yard stare just drained, I'm just a husk of who I was kind of look. And then you get parents who you could just tell are honestly kind of abusive, and they will even do that, publicly. Earlier today, one of my coworkers, while she was on her break, came up to me because she saw some dude of literally because his son was having a little fit about something, and this dude literally grabbed the kid by the back of his neck, like it was some dog, like a puppy being misbehaved, and you have to grab him by the scruff like a mama dog to kind of make him go, basically did that and was escorting him out out of the store and shit, and I wasn't there to see it, but I was just like, dude, what the fuck, I mean, and I kind of, even said that to her, too. Because it's Jesus. I mean, there are just straight up, some people, like I said, not every parent deserves a child, even though every child deserves a parent, right? He did that in South Park. maybe, I don't know. I wasn't there to see all that shit, but I could just tell that obviously he was sick of his, the kid's shit, and probably some boomer FUD too, or maybe like, some guy was raised by like that boomer conservative traditional, like, oh, you just gotta whip him in line, kind of bullshit mentality or whatever the fuck. Probably raised on that and thinks, this tough love mentality is gonna, make the kid be obedient, which by the way, it isn't. That's actually a space we usually just got punched in the throat. Now my larynx muscles are in the peak. At their peak? Well, hey, there was, some parents will do that. Maybe not literally like that, but, with what I just mentioned, yeah, does happen still. Dude, oh my god, I will never forget the fucking... Dude, I saw this shit. Like, I will never forget, like, it was like some grandmother, like, literally, like... So, it was either a mom or a grandmother. I'm pretty sure a grandmother, like, like, the kid was, being sad and being like, and whining and stuff, and already having a fit or whatever, which, look, that kind of gets under my skin too, and I don't like it, but there's literally a million ways to deal with, having that kid shut up and calm down and stuff without having to do what I'm about to say. Like, straight up, this fucking woman, like, literally just went that, probably louder, honestly, like, straight full fucking slapped this kid in the fucking face. In front of a lot of people, too, by the way. And this happened years ago, even pre-COVID years and shit. Like, this happened, like, probably 5 fucking years ago. A long time ago. But it's still fucking... I still remember this shit, because I, like, turned around... Like, because I immediately turned around after that. Because after that, I heard, like, this little yelp, like, yeah! And that was it. She slapped her kid. Well, grandkid, kid, yeah. Straight up. I looked at my coworker at the time. She's still working there, but, different shift now. But, we were close at that time. Literally, her and I looked at each other like, that just happened, did it? And I kind of, like, went up to her real quick. It's like, she obviously wants something. What do we do about that? She was like, I ain't gonna help her. And I'm like, I honestly want to tell us, like, I don't even want to help you because of what you just did. How, like, that was horrific and fucked. Like, shame on you for that. Like, I honestly wanted to pop off a bit. And I just kind of, like, looked over and, like, and she's like, she was literally like this or some shit. And I just, like, honestly wanted to be like, you know what? As much as I fucking want to, like, I don't want to deal with her fucking E because she's going to take it out on that kid. I honestly immediately started thinking about that kid because, like, I mean, I just knew whatever the fuck I might want to say was going to go be taken out on that kid. Just straight the fuck up. And it's just like, oh, you do not realize. That's the reason why I still think about that shit, because I'm still have that what if in my mind. Like, what if I decide to pop the fuck off? Like, would it have been taken out on the kid? Probably not, but I don't know. It's like, it's still, like, that shit, even all these years will still kind of pop in my mind occasionally. That's also another fuck thing about customer service shit that, doesn't get talked about as much. You get to see some fucked shit that, people will do to each other. Like, straight up. Or their kids. Like, I'm being serious. Like, you'll see some fucked up shit every now and then. Especially if it's like a Waffle House or something, or like maybe a fast food joint. I'm sure, depending, on the area, depending on what town, etc. But like, even in a pretty calm area like my place, where I live in and shit, dude, you will see some pretty fuck crazy stuff sometimes. Like, if I was working at like a Portland Safeway or some shit, I guarantee you, like, the frequency of crazy shit I'd see would be way more. Like, I'd probably have like endless stories, honestly. I mean, shit, I even talked to some guys that were family members of an old coworker that I had, Ryan, which, rest in peace, he passed away. And, like, he, because after the wake that we went to with a few of my other coworkers, because we're all friends with him, like, we were talking with some of his family members and their friends, from another Safeway that was in, like, the rural chucklefuck town they live in. And even in, like, a, chucklefuck small town of, like, a couple thousand people, they get crazy fucking stories. And, man, we were having, like, a time talking about, different things that they had to deal with, shit we deal with all the time. It was just like, man, It's like, dude, like when it comes to any grocery store, even in like the World Outback motherfucking places, like shit, like you're always gonna hear something. There's always some interesting stories. Honestly, dead ass. If you want to hear some really interesting stories and honestly butter up some retail workers that you see on the regular, ask them some pretty wild stories that they had to deal with, or see. Like, honestly, I mean, a dead ass will be chill and be like, yeah, you want to hear a crazy story? Like, we ain't afraid of it. Or at least I ain't. I'll talk your ear off about that shit. Because I do it a lot here, right? So, I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, we're technically not supposed to, like, gossip or talk about, like, other customers and incidents. But it's like, you know what? That's just kind of like one of those rules there that are okay to be broken as long as you're not, like, causing problems, so to speak, or whatever. But if it's just like casual, like silly gossip between, you and a customer because, you're friends and you're acquainted enough to where you're sharing stories, whatever, who gives a fuck? I mean, obviously you're going to share stories occasionally. Just go up to her and says, excuse me, do you need help getting your groceries to your car? Well, thanks, Saint. It's no problem. Now where'd you BAM uppercut? Dude, honestly, like, I do feel like, we should all be able to have, like, a getaway free card to just, like, fucking, just punch a hoe, dude. We all deserve to have at least one getaway free card, because I honestly would reserve that bad boy for a special moment. I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to that lady with, I'm pretty sure it was a grandkid and a grandmom, but I could be wrong. But either way, it's like, that would have been a time, it's like, I'm using my ticket. Wait, you are? Yeah, I'm gonna use my fucking get out of the way free card. Wait, who are you gonna use it on? You. Server. Server, I think she wanted like some, I don't even give a fuck. She literally only wanted one thing. I gave it to her. I didn't even say anything to her. I just like, it's like, what do you want? I just mumbled that. She's like, I just want that pound. I forgot what it was. I know it was a pound or something. I just nodded, did my thing. I just handed it to her. She just kind of went, grabbed it, and just went like, dropped it in her thing and just moved on. And I was just like, you know what? If we had to just get out of jail, just the free just card, dude, I would have been like, by the way, I'm going to use my free card, by the way. Witnesses, camera, documentation. All you have to do is just like, I don't know, like, stamp it or something, or like, do like a little or something like that. I don't know. And like, some way to like, show that you have now officially have used your card. Or just walk right up to her and just go, boom! I would like fucking rear that fucker up, dude. I would just like charge it, like charge my chi, dude, and just like go, BAM! BAM! I'm fucking charge that chi up, dude. You know what? Actually, I'd say 3 strikes rule. The third one you use, you're out. So you get, basically 3. You can only use 3 ever in your life, and you can not use them. And if anything, whatever, if that's the case. But in the case you ever use them, you only get 3. What if she turned out to be one of those old people who are secretly really good at fighting? Uppercut! But then you feel like you punched a brick wall and it's just her index finger. Well, that'll explain the fucking loud slap that she gave to her kid. Or a grandkid. Because, goddamn. It was, like... I mean, she, like, evidently must have been, like, one of these, like, hard-ass grandmas and shit. Which, frankly, like, I can't even imagine what the mom must be like. Like, honestly, like, if that's the grandmother, I can only really imagine how the mom might be. And, like, I don't know. It was years ago, so I don't, and who fucking knows? I don't want to assume. I try not to really assume that much out of, like, one-off situations. That's kind of I guess, like, one of the cons of people watching sometimes, or having to deal with this, people like this, on a more regular or daily, is that you can't, like, unless there's, like, something just overtly exceptional about, like, someone's behavior, like that mom's or grandmother slapping her kid, right? Like, unless there's some overtly exceptional like behavior like that, you can never really fully assume, right? She's probably dead now, but assholes tend to cling to life. Yeah, and honestly, she was a grandmother, from my understanding, but she wasn't young, or she wasn't like super old. Like, she definitely was probably like in her like late 50s or 60s or something, so she's definitely got life ahead of her. I guarantee you that we're old Crone's still alive. Hopefully the kid's in like doing better. Because the kid was probably like a little taller, I don't know, like maybe 3, 4 maybe at the oldest. Like, I mean, it wasn't really like a little, like a baby. I mean, it was, like a little 3, maybe 4-year-old little toddler. I mean, so at this point, that kid would probably be like 8, 9, maybe at most, maximum 10 years old now at this point. So hopefully at this point, he's got like his little social circles and his friends, and at least, he's got outlets, that are positive and healthy for him to deal with and shit outside of like, at least an abusive grandma. I know about his, mom and dad's life and shit, but hopefully they at least treat him better. It just sucks that, you just got people like that, even if there aren't necessarily the parents, it's just like, it just sucks that you got people like that. Even if, I never, always do the think of the children, protect the children thing, but, like, I really do, think about that, because, like, I mean, I do want to try to make sure kids are protected and, and, like, avoid any abusive harm and shit, especially that's ultimately fundamentally unnecessary to them and shit. Outside of, like, oh, they might get a little bullied at school, or they hurt themselves because they fell on their bike or whatever. Shit happens. But, like, this unnecessary, horrible, abusive shit that happens, like, even if, you try to do the best that, can be done, especially on a societal and, like, even a regulatory level, it's like, you're always gonna have these motherfuckers around. Because, like I said, I mean, they're not necessarily just parents, but maybe their parents don't realize it, but like, maybe when, the kid goes off to a weekend to see grandma and grandpa or some shit, maybe at least, if not both, maybe at least one of them is probably an abusive shit. And they probably aren't exactly, keen on visiting them sometimes, and maybe they just don't realize the cues. It's like, well, my kid really loves to go see granddad, but never is excited about grandma, though. Always is talking about granddad whenever we send him over there. So, shouldn't that be a cue that maybe the grandma might not really either be into life as much or abusive and doesn't like her? It's just like, little cues like that, because honestly, kids will say a lot of things without saying anything. Like, I mean, like, because of how emotional and, like, how, and lack of better words, honestly, because they're undeveloped, but kind of like how primal their, like, emotions are expressive and shit. Like, it's kind of easy to read kids, like, honestly. Like, when it comes to, like, how they're feeling. Like, I could tell when a kid's, like, reclusive or, just out and about expressive or whatever, because, like, they're way more expressive of body language and how they're feeling, so to speak, in comparison to an adult. Like, an adult usually tempers, emotions and stuff, at least within reason, at least to a certain extent, versus like a kid, because kids don't really know these like social barriers or boundaries and this and that, or, they're very reclusive and like, go a little too far with that, because of their own emotions or their own angst, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, like, it's like, again, it's just another thing about like kind of people watching a little bit when it comes to my, being in customer service work. You notice these tendencies a lot. Like, I mean, because more often than not, kids are way more expressive about their feelings and shit without having to say a damn word. Just based off, just their body language. It's kind of wild, like, how much, like, body language really communicates. I mean, most of communication that humans do is nonverbal anyway, so I just find it fascinating to kind of, like, really notice those, like, nonverbal, like, expressions, every now and then, especially when it's, like, super expressive. Because, like I said, usually it's pretty tempered. But anyway, I know he sent me some stuff here. He said, this is nuts, and also this. What we got? Is that a cat fucking around with a toaster, dude?
Maggie. Maggie, what are you doing?
Dude, okay, what the, okay, oh, alright, you know what? Hot take. Low-key, fuck this owner. Dude, low-key, fuck this owner, bro. Like, don't let your cat fuck with the toaster, because one, you, two, oh my god, dude, I honestly don't like this. Yeah, it's nuts. But this is a little fucked. Like, why? Put the phone down and get your cat away from the toaster. It's not what you think. What do you mean? Wait, with this?
Down in there. I checked.
What's going? Wait, what do you mean?
Fuck!
Oh, there's a mouse in there. That would explain it, but I still feel like the humans should have gotten, like, I don't know, a bag or like a jar or a container. Well, maybe not a jar, but, you know, like a big bin or a container or something. And I don't know, shake the fucking toaster until it fell out and then secure that and then relocate it or some shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't let the cat fuck around with the toaster. I mean, yeah, you got a mouse that fell in there. I get it. Like, look, it's for the cat's sake. That's really it. It's for the cat's safety, you know? Like, you can't help that the mouse fell in there as a dumbass, but, like, the cat, you can help that, you know? Like, I don't know. I still, not as harsh as I was about to go off on as, but, like, I still feel like, I don't know, man, you know, get the cat away from there. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably better because, dude, that cat's not going to realize that the mouse ain't in there anymore, and that cat's going to be fucking around with that toaster wondering, where the fuck are you? So, you know what? Actually, that is probably for the better, to be honest, now that I think about it. Because now the cat knows, like, I got you, fucker. So it won't go around the toaster. You know, I don't know. Yeah, now I'm starting to have a confliction about it. Now I'm starting to both sides of shit. God damn it. What the fuck is going on here?
Dad, are you sure you know what you're doing?
That cat's gonna fuck with that ponytail.
Whoa, last time I checked, I'm still
Knew it.
real hot. Kept it dope without a pill pop. Bill Cosby.
Oh shit. Yo, she's still fucking doing her thing. Okay. Yeah, she's like, my ponytail's getting fucked up. Oh no. And like, probably hurts, I would imagine. And she's still out there fucking, you know, doing her shit. Oh, no, she had to get down. Oh my god, look at that kitty! It's so cute! But, also, there's, you know, booty there as well, I guess, but, you know. Oh my god, dude, that kitty's belly is so adorable. I want to scritch the fuck out of that belly of that cat. Can we pause? Oh my god, dude, Tumblr's video player is really bunk. But, like, is there a way to, like, get to the kitty belly? Oh my god, look at that kitty belly. Dude, look at that kitty belly. Oh my god. Do not tell me you just don't want to take your hands and just go ham and scritch that belly, bro. Dude, I would, oh my god, that kitty. And his whole face. Oh, look at that little face. Oh my, you can't tell me you just want to like go and just smush that little face and just scritch those little cheeks. Those fluffy little cheeks. Dude, I can tell this is still a kitten because those paws are some fucking bear mitts, dude. This cat's gonna be huge. That's still a kitten. That right there is still a kitten, bro. That is gonna be a huge fucking cat. That's gonna be some big ass pussy. Big ass pussy. Bap. We had Nicki Minaj's. Was it Nicki Minaj? I think it was, right? Or was it Cardi B? Who was it? Cardi B making a song? I don't even fucking know. You had WAP, but no one heard about BOP or BAP. Big ass pussy. Cardi, okay. I knew it was one of them. I was kind of on the metric. I was around the ballpark. Well, okay, my brain ain't. But, I mean, I was around the ballpark. Yeah. I think I did kind of throw Cardia. There was like, yeah, because I think it was Cardia and featuring Micky the Stallion, I think, or something like that. Or some shit. I don't fucking know. Maybe it's a Maine Coon kitten. That would explain it. Yeah, the kitty. Yeah, it does look like a Maine Coon. Actually, I think it does have the signature, like, kind of Maine Coon look on the head. Because they have those little M, on its head. God damn it, dude. The video player is retarded because this won't go away. And every time I want to try to, like, take it off, like, on YouTube, like, I can't just do that, like, because it'll just play. They just literally... Alright, whatever. I mean, actually, yeah, no, I can see it right there. I mean, I don't know if I can zoom in. Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, see, there's the M. Yeah, so it's a Maine Coon kitten. So, yeah, that's going to be a big kitty. Big-ass kitty. Big-ass pussy. Look at that snuggle game. Weep. I love how, like, Maine Coons, hi, Paul. But I love how, like, Maine Coons were literally named Maine Coons because, like, I think they were native in North America. And honestly, like, legit, like, different settlers and explorers moving west and shit unironically thought that there are cats and raccoons that fucked, and that was what the offspring were Maine Coons. I kind of love the little silly lore behind them. I think they were just, like, native domesticated, like, or, like, native cats that were just in North America that, just kind of, were another, like, subgroup of, like, these more domesticated cat breeds. Because cats are everywhere, right? Like, so, like, honestly, what, like, now that I'm thinking about it, what is kind of the history with that? Because I know there were already, like, small cats, here, on top of, like, the big ones, like lynxes, bobcats, mountain lions, etc. So, like, and same thing for places like in Egypt, Mesopotamia, Africa, etc. Because, like, there were small cats, big cats, lions, etc. So it's like, I wonder if they're, I'm guessing as it's just kind of cross borders, but just different species depending on the region. Actually, yeah. I think it's just that, same thing with dogs, too. I don't know, think about it. Because I have a book about, like, the genealogy and, like, the history of, like, dogs, and man, like, kind of interlinked, stuff, and the history between that, and, like, how, like, dogs and canine evolution is, tied with that and stuff. Like, I have a book about that, but I should see if I can find a book about that, but for, felines. Because it'd be kind of interesting to learn a little bit, like, some of the interesting little facts of history about, like, the domestication of cats and shit. Because I know, like, the domestication of cats happened later in comparison to domestication of dogs. Because, like, domestication of dogs goes back to, like, straight up 100,000+ years ago. Like, at least when it comes to, like, some of the earliest record of, what we know about that. And at least for cats, like, I think the earliest domestication records of that would be around, like, 10,000 plus BC, give or take, which would kind of make sense considering, like, the early proto, like, learnings of agriculture and stuff at that time, and, and starting to kind of figure stuff like that out, which eventually led to some of these early proto-empires, during, like, the 4,000 BC area, during, like, the Copper and Bronze Age and shit. Wait till one of my last wishes. What's one way you accidentally embarrassed your parents? One at ASOS in front of our dad's friends. He was Muslim and I thought it was a hot dog. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is not with my parents. This is actually funny enough with my brother. I'm sure I could think of a few with my parents, or at least with my mom, probably. More than anything. Like, give me a minute to think about the parents. But I actually, weirdly enough, something with my brother honestly clicked this. This dude, I was probably like, I don't even fucking know, dude. I don't even know how I even remember this, dude, because this is so fucking... Dude, like, I was probably like 5 or 6. Like, it was around the time where I started learning how to talk and learn words and everything and shit. And I just would not shut the fuck up. It was around that era. So, I don't know. I might have been like 7. Something like that. But I was taking a detour at the submarine that's at OMSI. And it's a decommissioned nuclear sub. And, you know, they do tours there at OMSI and stuff all the time. And, you know, so me and my brother took a tour there. And, I don't even know. You know, I was a kid, but apropos of literally fucking nothing. I don't even know, you know, outside of just being a kid, I don't even know why the question even popped in my mind. But I literally looked at him because the dude who was giving us the tour guide at the time, like, he was Korean and, you know, an Asian background. The only reason why that is brought up because it's related to the fucking question I asked. That's the only reason why this is in context. My little, like, white 7-year-old little cracker jackass fucking asked this dude, are you Japanese or Chinese? And my brother fucking, like, slapped my arm and was like, what the fuck? And then, you know, some of the crowd laughed, you know, because I think they realized that I'm just a little kid being dumb. You know, probably half paying attention, which frankly I was a little bit, but, you know, so that's why in hindsight I'm wondering, why did that even get asked? Again, I was like 7, bro. I don't even know. I'll have to ask my brother, you know, because he would definitely have a better memory of it than me, because he was probably like 19, 20 or something like that at the time. Maybe 21 by that point. I mean, he was an adult, you know, graduated high school by this point. You know, so like, did the guy answer? Yes. And he said, he laughed too. I remember looking at him and he was like, you know, kind of chuckling because I'm a little kid. I think, honestly, the innocence of me being a literal child, I'm a literal child. Like, you know, literally being a child, I think that fused everything about that. So, you know, everyone, you know, kind of had a little giggle about it. I do remember that. And, you know, he said, no, actually, you know, my parents are Korean and, you know, I'm migrated here. I'm a Korean, you know, and I was like, and I actually know, I was like, oh, cool. I literally said that. And there was a little bit more of a smart, like, kind of like, oh, huh, silly. Oh, little kid, you know, kind of goof, you know, a little chuckled, you know, after that too. But but my brother, I bet you, he probably had a fucking face like a goddamn lobster and was just like, bro. Like, you know, like the shade of a fucking fresh red lobster, bro. Like, just like, oh my god, why? But, you know, my dumb little white cracker jack innocent little milk pig ass was just like, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It was definitely like a very embarrassing cringe moment for my brother for sure. But I'm honestly really trying to think, at least for my other parents, or at least, you know, for my parents, at least in this case, my other parents. Oh my god, well, my brain's flippity floppy like a fish tonight. Like, I'm trying to think. I know there has to at least be a few of my mom. I think that's why I'm having a hard time, because I'm trying to think. Oh, fuck. Man. I know there are some stories I could think, like, that I know I can talk about, but I don't know why any of them aren't really just popping up in the lexicon. You know, like, I mean, because fuck. I mean, that one with my brother, I was shocked I even really remember that to the detail that I did, because I was like fucking 6 or 7. You know, like, so I don't know. Like, I mean, fuck. I'm just gonna have to put a pin on that. Like, you know, shit. I guess just like keep it in mind, because I might honestly have a story, you know, one of these days about that, because I know there's gotta be something. I know I have a fucking story. I just don't know why it's not popping up in my head right now. That's why I was kind of flabbergasted I even remember the one of my brother at the OMSI thing. because I don't really think about that memory that often. But shit, dude, like fuck, like I mean, when it does, it's just like I even go oof. That's another thing. Actually, I've heard people criticize parents for wanting to be friends with their kids instead of parenting them. And while that's fair, some parents will just straight up argue with their kids. It's like, bro, he's 6. What are you doing? You gonna scrap with a toddler? I mean, no shit, man. You want it's honestly even more embarrassing when that said 6-year-old has more maturity than the parent. Because, dude, you know, I'm sure you like to peruse the public freakouts on Reddit sometimes. Like, bruh, I've seen some, like, parent meltdowns where the kids are fucking way more mature than the parents. I'm, like, dude, I don't know if we could find it. I don't really want to try to, like, dig for it on Reddit, but, dude, I remember the other day on Public Freakout, like, this parent having a meltdown because of, like, some bag on whether he could or couldn't carry that, you know, on this, like, water ride or some shit that, you know, he was on. And the kids were kind of like, Dad, come on. You know, like, you know, he had like 2 or 3 kids or something like that. And we're legit like kind of starting to like cry a little bit about it because they would just want to ride the ride and not have any problems. And his dad was having a fucking meltdown, you know, over like a bag check kind of thing or some shit like that. And like had a whole fucking hoopla over this shit for like 3 minutes or something. And eventually he did just like, you know, calm the fuck down and just, you know, got on the ride because honestly, the reason why, because of the kids. Like, it was honestly the virtue of the fact that he had like 3 kids who were just like begging him to calm down and just like do what they say and stuff like that. And just like, just please, just like quit causing a scene. I want to just ride the ride. Right? Like they were literally being diplomatic and just saying, look, you know, if we can understand the rules and if we are willing to be okay with it, why can't you? And you're the dad and the adult. It's like, how are your kids more mature than you, fuckface? It's like, that boggles my brain. And that, like I said, shows that not every, you know, parent deserves a child, because, like, damn, bro. Like the parent, like the child, like the children, like, because again, it wasn't just one of them. It was like a brother, 2 brothers and a sister, I think, or some shit. Something like that. Like an older brother, middle sister, younger brother, or something like that, you know? And just straight up, like, all 3 of them were literally acting like the parent more so than the parent. With their collective brains, you know, just saying, stop. You know, just let's ride the ride for fuck's sake. Quit making a scene. We want to ride the ride. Don't, like, cause such a scene that we get kicked out. Come on, Dad. And I know one of them was 6. Like, the one who was 6 ended up just using the crying technique. But the other 2 who were a little older were legit, while crying too a little bit, were fucking straight pleading and being overtly diplomatic. And I guarantee you, the reason why the dad was eventually able to get on the ride was because of those kids. That was it. If it wasn't for the, you know, fact that, like, the workers, you know, and, like, the manager probably that showed up, you know, wondering what the fuck is going on, has some empathy for the kids, like, look, we're here, and the reason why this park is here in the first place is so kids like your kids can have a good time. And you know what? Fine. You know, like, we're not gonna, you know, we're gonna just drop this shit, get on that ride, quit making a fucking fuss, and let your kids have a good time, because that's what they're here for. That's why that's why you brought them here, right? So so I guarantee you, like, the manager, it wasn't really heard, you know, at least not, you know, I couldn't make out every little thing, but I guarantee you, like, the supervisor of the show was like, just shut the fuck up, get over it. Look, fine, you can have the bag on the ride, because he did have his bag on the ride eventually. So because I think the whole bag check idea was so to make sure his belongings didn't drop or whatever, which, again, it's more so for their sake than anything, right? Like, so you had to fit over that, and eventually they just let him take his little dub, mostly for his kids, just so, you know, they wouldn't, you know, be sad and get kicked out. Like, you know, but it's like, I bet, you know, you got to, you know, lecture and being like, look, fine, we'll let you on with your shit, but just understand that, like, the only reason why is because of your children. If, you know, like, if it wasn't for that, we'd kick you right out. We do that. But, you know, so understand that we can do that, and we, you know, next time this shit gets brought up again, or next time you start wanting to pop off on some other ride about something like this, we will do that, and we don't want to ruin your kid's day. So get on that ride, let them have their fun, and just let it be kind of like a little bad stint that happened in a in a broadly good memory that they can at least reflect on. Quit being a dick. Get on. I guarantee you probably got some lecture like that. He tucked his little tail between his legs, went on the ride, and had this little, like, because I remember as the ride was going on, as the video ended, he was like, he kind of had like this little like puff, like a little pouty look on his face. So I guarantee you he got fucking lectured. Maybe not the exact way that I said, but I guarantee you got a lecture with that same type of fucking venom. Because honestly, like, some motherfuckers just need that stern talking down to. Because some parents ought to get parented because they don't know how to fucking act even when their kids are being more mature than them. Even if they are being emotional and crying. Because fuck, I mean, if I was like 8 or some shit, my dad or my mom was doing that shit just because, some bad check bullshit, I'd do the same thing. I mean, fuck. I can't blame those kids. You know what's even worse? The parents trying to spoil a kid who clearly doesn't want to be spoiled. Does that make sense? Wait, is that a chicken sandwich? You ordered the cheeseburger. Mom, it's fine. That's it. We're going back up to the counter demanding they remake your food. Mom, please don't. My friends are here. I mean, yeah, dude, that's happened sometimes with me. It's more or less just because I'll be like, oh, this isn't exactly what I ordered. And my mom's like, oh, well, we could go back, blah, blah, blah. And I'll literally be like, look, it's fine. I'll eat it. And if there's anything I don't like, I'll just pick it out. Because honestly, even as a kid, I kind of had like the proto early hindsight, or I guess foresight, to kind of realize that like it ain't worth the that customer, that coworker. Well, now I'm thinking it in a coworker sense, but like, it's not worth that worker's, like stress and also bullshit. Unless it's like straight up like some, like, undercooked, food or, some shit like that. Or like you straight up just did not get like, specific items that you ordered or something like that. In the sense that like half your order is not there or something. Like I understand going back being like, hey, excuse me, my order was incorrect because there was something missing or this and that. And honestly, as long as you're chill and respectful, I'll just hook your ass right up. Like actually, the other earlier today, like someone came back, because they ordered like something like Korean beef or something like that, just one like entree from our China case, and he came back like 5 minutes later saying, "Hey, I already paid for it. Here's my receipt. Like this spilled in my car. Is it okay if I just get it replaced?" And I just said, "Sure, man. You know what? I mean, I see receipt. Well, I trust you, bro. Like, I mean, and he was chill about it, all cool, and I just on the house, bro. Like, I mean, shit. You showed me your receipt, just being front with me, being respectful, being chill, all good by my hands. I mean, it's like, so, like, as long as you got kind of like that game plan a little bit, or just one, just being chill with it. I mean, even if it is a little slight fuck up, like, oh, hey, this batch of, tenders are dry or something like that. It's okay if I, got some of them replaced, and I'll be like, sure, you know what, you don't even worry about, like, having to pay for those, beyond the house. Just tell me how much it was, and I'll at least, give you the equivocal and fresh. Because, I mean, most people, honestly, especially my day-to-day, tend to be pretty chill. So, because of that, I tend to be pretty chill. And I think, because I've worked there for so long, I think there's been kind of like a little bit of a reciprocal kind of like, hey, like, as long as you're kind of chill, you'll be kind of chill kind of mentality. It's like, it's basically the I scratch my back, you scratch my kind of thing. You scratch my back and be respectful to me, especially as like a customer service, worker and working in retail and having to deal with the already bullshit stresses of that, and even if it isn't necessarily you, having to deal with asshole customers that, want to come in and fucking like make every goddamn thing under the sun that is their problem mine and all this other shit. It's like, I mean, just that. It literally is like, that basic little line right there will, like, I'll fucking be like, yo, I'll give you, like, another extra half-pound Joe's just on the house just because you're really nice to me. Fuck it. I mean, shit like that, just goes out like candy anyway, for as far as I care, so whatever. I even just straight up gave, like, half-pound Joe's for free because, like, the last little bit that we had later tonight were, like, dried, old, and just kind of, ugh. So I was like, and I already had the fryer closed up for the night, and I told Lace, like, honestly, just because, like, they're kind of dried out and old, and probably not really that good. I mean, honestly, I'll just give you these for free, if that's okay with you. And she was like, oh, well, yeah, that's fine for me, sure. And I just gave it to her, and she was like, and funny enough, she actually kind of looked at it and was like, wait, she kind of forgot almost. She's like, you're not going to put a tag on it? I'm like I said, they're really old, and I mean, honestly, probably a lot of them aren't really going to be that edible, but I did try to pick out the ones that were good. But either way, I was going to distress them, throw them away anyway, so just take them. She was like, oh, all right, the other thing is tagged. Okay, cool, it is. And I was like, all right, cool. She at the end of this, she kind of walked away nice, little happy, with a smile on her face. So, and again, she was being nice to chill about. She just wanted chicken and JoJo's, and that was sadly kind of like what we were the lowest on. And I just hooked her the fuck up with at least what was at least somewhat okay. Try to do what I can with it. It honestly kind of sucks because, like, one of our fryers the other night broke. And I don't even know what the fuck is wrong with it. Like, not to kind of, like, go into, like, now this, but, dude, like, I was frying up some JoJo's yesterday, and, on top of, like, some tendies, and I pressed the button for it or whatever, and I just kind of, not thinking it, just mindlessly like, all right, make sure it's at 8 minutes, or for the JoJo's, cool, boop, and it did its thing, and I just walked away. So about, like, I don't know, halfway through, I come back, and the Joes and tenders get the same amount of time when it comes to, how long they need to cook. So I put the tenders in first and then the Joes. So, I knew when the tenders are done, the Joes would be done, regardless. So I looked at the timer for where the Joes were in, and I was like, wait, it's off. And I noticed that the switch for the fryer is on, though. I was like, what? So I turned it off, and I actually even turned the filter section on really quick, and nothing happened. I was like, huh, okay. So there's like 2 reset buttons on the fryers that we have. There's one in the front and one in the back. Press one in the front, nothing happened. And I was like, okay, probably not that. So I just waited, at least at this point, like, all right, I'll wait until the Joes are done cooking in here, because it's not like the fryer oil is going to go from like 325 to 350 or some shit to like 100 degrees within a matter of minutes, right? Like, it's still going to be that hot, to cook Joes. So, and Joes are potatoes, so whatever, they're potatoes. Who cares? So it's like, I'm thinking, all right, I'll just wait for those to be done. They got done. And after that, I pulled the fryer back, and, so I can reach back, so I can actually go press the reset button in the back. Nothing happened. And I was like, okay, so this thing's fucked. So I unplug it, wait a little bit, and then replug it back in, and I try to flip it on again. Nothing. Turn the filter section on. Nothing. I'm just like, the electrical in this is shot. Fuck me. So I write a little note. I just fucking closed the damn thing because I can't filter it, so no real point in cleaning it, and I know it wasn't really used that much that day, so whatever. I mean, closing it up now. And honestly, at least, between yesterday and today, I mean, it's made my job pretty fucking easy. Just filter one fryer a night now. Whatever. If people bitch that, it takes a while for things to get fried up, then whatever. I mean, the fryer broke. We got an order on it. I did see that. I did walk in this morning, or when I went into work, and saw that there was like an order form to say, to fix it. So they saw my note, because I wrote a note, after it was all fucking, whatever. And so I just wiped down the area, cleaned it up, wrote a note on it saying it's broke. I don't know. Like the electrical on it shot, and just whatever. Just went from there. So at least, they know that it's broke, and hopefully it will get fixed soon. Oh, fuck me. I just realized that tomorrow's Monday. No. Oh, dude. We got a sale day, and fuck. No. And that fryer's not going to be fixed by tomorrow. Fuck. No. No. The dread. Holy fuck, the dread. No. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, dude. Alright, well, I'm fucked tomorrow. I swear, if I hear there's a call out by my boy Skittle or anything like that, I swear to fuck, dude. Mm-mm. I'm gonna have my fuse down to nothing. Oh, and I also found out it was my store director's first new day today. Found out her name, and apparently she actually does kind of kick ass a little bit. You found the drink I was looking for? Wait, which Jarritos did you get? Did you get the orange one? Because the orange one's my shit. I like that one. I like the orange Jarritos. Or at least the alcoholic ones. Did you get the pineapple one too? I haven't tried that yet, but I imagine it's pretty fire. Yeah, orange. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah, bros. You know what's up? Dude. But one Voodoo Ranger. Yeah, I feel you with that. I don't think Plaid Panther carries them. Well, they do carry Voodoo Ranger, but not the one that I'm drinking. Wait, so I saw you were saying some stuff here. Hold on. The one I take back food is if it's something that I can't eat, like if it's a burger covered in mayo. Yeah. Yeah, at least when it comes to taking food back, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Luckily, at least when it comes to the work that I do, it's like a hot service, like front counter kind of thing. So whatever I pick out, you know, you could tell me, like, I don't want that piece. Like, you got every right to do that as long as you're being respectful, chill about it, like I said. Like, if you're looking at some particular pieces, you know, I will, you know, try to find which ones you're talking about and then grab them. I'll admit, some people be like, hey, you know, and they'll think from their perspective, but not from mine, and be like, hey, I want to grab that one on your left right there. And they'll be like looking at a particular piece, and I'll be like, this one? Because I'm thinking my left, you know, when it comes to a particular piece, and I'll like point at something, they're like, no. Now I'm like, okay. Now I start moving around that left vicinity, which would actually be their right, but they're thinking about their left, not their right. So it's just like, sometimes there's just straight up some fucking confusion with that, and it does lead to some mild frustrations, but I mean, at least that I could kind of get a little bit, because I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't, but because, like, fuck, if you mean my left, then say my left, you know, but if you mean your left, then say your left, you know, it's just like, 7-Eleven's perpetually out. Rails carries them. For the hard charge teas, I get these at my work. They're on like a little end cap with all the other tall boys, you know, so that's at least at Safeway there. If you got a Safeway that happens to be anywhere close to you, you know, within a short little distance, there. My Safeway doesn't have them. What the fuck? No way, really? Dude, are you sure? There is no way, bro. What the fuck? Hilariously, yours is out of stock last time I'm there. Yeah, they're not really in stock that long. Though, to be fair, that might be because of me. I like them, so every time I see them, I grab a couple, so I don't know. So, I don't know. That's, oops. Sorry, I got them out of stock there for you that one time. I've looked and never seen them in my shitty Safeway. Man, your Safeway must be bonk, bro. Dude, what the fuck? Dude, like, every time you mention your Safeway, it always sounds like shit. For Dread, Hella doesn't have them. Well, I don't think Fred Meyer would. Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at the Fred Meyer, you know, in my, you know, that's near me. So I don't know what their selection looks like, but so I don't know if Fred Meyer will carry them or not. I mean, I'm sure maybe they do, but maybe it's just store location dependent. Because apparently, I guess for Safeway, that's how it is. Yeah, downtown Safeway sucks. Yeah, I've heard. They got rid of the only good thing about it. It used to be open until midnight. I thought that's what every Safeway was meant to close. Dude, I remember pre-COVID, like, Safeways used to close at, like, fucking goddamn 1:30 in the morning, dude. Hi, Mickey. I hear you. What's up, bro? Wait, what the fuck? Dude, he's like over here. Oh shit, no, he's sneaking around over here. I hear you, boy. I'm gonna get you one day, Mickey. They also stupidly don't allow backpacks, so it's useless for me. How am I gonna carry a bunch of food back? What? Dude, I understand trying to, like, curb, store theft and shit. Dude, my store has done some stupid policies, like, the self-checkout is closed by 10. Main reason why is because they want to limit theft. It's just like, that doesn't do anything besides just annoy everybody. Because even for all of us, at work, it annoys the fuck out of us. Like, I've heard how, like, all of us, especially up front, the ones who have to directly deal with it, are bitching about it. And it's just like, I mean, why? Like, oh, because they wanted to deter theft? Well, that ain't gonna be the way to do it. In fact, none of that shit's going to. Like, none of these policies, are helpful. Like, fundamentally, like, it's just an inconvenience to literally everybody else. And it's not because, oh, well, people just would stop stealing, then that wouldn't be the case. It's not because of that. It's not because of that bullshit. It's because of broader socioeconomic conditions that make people desperate enough to do that shit. Maybe address the root cause of these problems, and that would go away. It's not just as simply as like, well, just stop it. Well, maybe they can't, because if not, they would die. Because, I don't know, people gotta eat, people gotta have some water, people gotta hydrate, or they're gonna dehydrate. So, I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, I could give a fuck if someone's stealing a little bit of food here and there. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see that. That's why, like I said earlier, especially if, like, food is, like, literally, like, barely edible or, like, just passable for being edible, potentially, maybe. Like, and, especially when it comes to late at night, like I was talking about earlier, it's like, yeah, I'll do that shit. I'll just give that shit out for free because, like, I'm just going to distress it anyway. And in fact, literally at any time else during the day, most people would actually bitch about that and complain and demand that they get, like, free, replacement out of that. So it's just like, either way, what the fuck does it matter? Especially when it's just like, literally at most like $3 of like, lost profits potentially. It's like, who gives a fuck? And for JoJo's, that lost profit is 50 cents. Like, basically, at most $1. Like, straight up. Oh, they lose $1 of profits because I didn't charge some dried up fucking JoJo's that were barely edible. Oh God. Fucking sue me. That would make a great name for a mummy movie. In life, he died from thirst. Now he takes moisture from the living. And then it shows the mummy grabbing someone, draining them in the moisture. The title pops. Boom! Dihydrate. Funny enough, you want to know where I learned that from? There was a fellow at Furlandia on the last day, on the final day of the con, that was just like, that was talking to, like in a circle that was, a chat with, just, like hanging out with, a few others. And it was like, and he was about to head out, and it's like, all right, remember everybody, stay hydrated or you're going to be dehydrated, or something like that. It was either like, hydrate or dehydrate or stay hydrated or get dehydrated or something like that. It was one of the two. And I think, actually, now that I think about it, I think it was like hydrate or dihydrate, or something like that. And, I had to tell him, it's like, dude, I love that. I'm kind of appropriate that. And it's like, well, it's true, though. Have you hydrated today? He even told me, it's like, did you? And it's like, I ain't going to dehydrate today. And he kind of got a little chuckle. It's like, good. So, I mean, I kind of took it from I don't even know what his name was. It was just like, just a dude there, so I don't know who it was, but to that dude, I took that shit and I salute you, sir. Because I've thought about that since, and I've flexed that out occasionally. Because I like it. Hydrate or dihydrate. get to the screen off. Hold on. And don't need Paul just kind of being a little shadow there. I wonder where Micky the Rat might be. I heard him over here, but what the fucker's a ninja, honestly? I won't be surprised because I heard him here last time a minute ago. So I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna pop his little ass over here or be back over there. He was just over here an hour ago. Well, not an hour ago, but fucking 30 minutes ago or something. Little fucker's a ninja, dude. Goddamn fucking little rat, bro. I mean, I'm definitely going NIMBY on his ass. I mean, the household invasion, the garage is one thing. The garage, I'm willing to just say, I'm not even going to bother trying to hunt his ass down in this place. But in the house, though, whole nother ball game. You know what? If I catch that little fucker, I'm going to hold him in my bare hands, like I said. And, I'll even record it, be like, face the judgment of woe. This is the motherfucker that I've been trying to catch for over a year. Well, kind of. I mean, kind of back burner shit at this rate, but now at this point, it's back on. It's on again. Red ass gonna bite you. Not if you know how to hold them. I mean, I've had people who have had pet rats. If you want to kind of cup them and hold them, there are a way, to hold them if you don't want them to bite you or anything like that. I don't even know why I said that quotes, but you kind of hold them by the back of their neck and then kind of cup their body so they don't try to scratch you either. You can restrain them, so there is a way to, restrain a rat. I mean, I would certainly be careful. I'd be using gloves, not just some fucking latex gloves or vinyl gloves or some shit about it, worker, gloves or something, dude. I ain't gonna fuck around with a rat. I ain't gonna let that bastard bite me. But at the same time, though, I'm gonna grab that little fucker. CPR on a rat. Man, I'm half tempted to get one of those little rodent cages that you can have as a little enclosure. Cause look, I mean, for as long as this little fucker's been in here, I've literally stared him down from 5 feet away where he's just looking at me with those little beady eyes. I'm just Micky, can you just give it up and just let me be your friend for fuck's sake or something? We could have a bonding moment, but no, now you're ruining it. Now Micky the Rat's ruining it. There's probably more than one. There isn't. I know for a fact it's only the one. And because if it really was, I feel like I would be hearing multiple rummagings and shit like that. But there's no other way for a rat to get in the house outside of the garage when I have the door open. Which, by the way, right now the door is closed. So, literally the only rat would be him. Or her. I mean, if I find out it's a female rat, I'll just call her Nikki. But as far as it stands now, it's Micky the Rat. And the thing is, I never really have a rat problem at all, ever. Outside of them just being outside. Which, whatever. I mean, they're outside. I mean, who cares? But, I mean, at least for having, an actual rat problem in the house, this is the first time, I think, ever where we actually have had one in the house where it's just, been constant. Isn't Micky already gender neutral? Yeah, I guess so. But Micky, at least in the case of Micky the Rat, I'm thinking of some Irish Mick that is fucking a traitor to the mafia boss or some shit and fucking ran away with the money bags or whatever, Micky the Rat. Oh, it's I mean, so at least how I have named this rat, that is more of a male-based kind of gendered name. At least, how I'm interpreting it. But I'm sure it probably is more of a gender-neutral name. I mean, I knew a woman named Bobby, for fuck's sake. So... I mean, which that kind of shook me. I even asked her, isn't that a boy's name? She's no, that's a gender neutral name. I mean, women and men can have that name. And I was just like, oh. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, okay. You and the rat. Dude, you know what? Sarah, like, on the Instagram stream earlier today, was literally doing the same fucking... Dude, she mentioned Tom and Jerry too, dude. Dude, I'm literally Tom from Tom and Jerry right now, bro. Dude, this is literally me when I finally catch Jerry, or Mickey, in this case. Give me power. Give me power. Dude, I'm gonna say that too when I finally catch this fucker. Oh my god. Dude, like, Sarah from earlier tonight was just straight up like had to throw the Tom and Jerry reference, because this really is some Tom and Jerry shit, bro. Like, it really is. Like, bruh. Like, what the fuck? And honestly, how is this face right here not a meme? How is this not a meme template? Like, seriously, how, like, how is this, like, or any frame of this, how is, like, none of these frames a meme template? And why is Tyler calling me right now? Metal T, my dude. Micky the Rat, I hear you over there. See, he's a ninja. He went over here from over there. I fucking knew it. Why is he calling me right now? Hit me up in another form. You know I am not available to call you at this moment in time. You know what I fucking do after work, Metal T? Hell yeah, Metal T, because I'm trying to ask him to come over. Because I was wanting to maybe do a surprise karaoke for... I was kind of maybe wanting to do like a surprise karaoke for Sunday at Duffy's, but I forgot to ask Marissa or her like contact to be like, hey, yo, how do you work this? At least, for socials or like a number or something like that. So I was just like, if I didn't forget to do that, I would have, because she left, before like area totally wrapped up. So I was just like, fuck. Want to ask her about that. Just never got a chance to. So I was just like, fuck. So next time I ask her, I'm like, hey, what's, at least if I, maybe next time if I see her or CJ or one of the other KJs, I'll be like, hey, is it cool if I like kind of chaperone a little bit? I've been wanting to maybe like expand, karaoke's on Sundays, because I can easily come in around 9 o'clock on Sundays, to, like expand, stuff like that, especially considering the All's Wells Liquor, $1 off kind of thing, on Sunday that they got going on that day and all this other shit. And plus, maybe, just maybe, potentially doing, some like, like some movie nights or something like that. Because, I mean, honestly, the screen, that big screen, at Duffy's that they got, like, dude, that would be perfect for having, like, a film up, and having, like, movie nights. And honestly, there's actually, weirdly enough, on YouTube, like, a decent selection of, like, movies that are for free. So, honestly, it's just, like, even with that, or, like, just, like, using somebody's, like, Netflix or some shit like that, I mean, I could even use my own, whatever. Like, I mean, it could work. $1 off on their already cheap prices. On Sundays, yes. That's why I kind of want to expand karaoke from Friday and Saturday to Friday through Sunday. Because Sunday could be kind of like the little, hey, the cool kids show up that day kind of day. You know what I mean? Because, like, $1 off on Wells Liquor across the board. And, whether it's whiskey, vodka, whatever you want. And on top of that, if there's an expansion from that, can I see where I'm kind of going with that? See the idea of the potential investments? I thought Netflix cracked down on logging in multiple devices. I mean, if you're logged in on your specific account, well, I guess, with I don't know. I mean, yeah, unless there's like an official Duffy's account, that could be used, which right now there isn't, but I mean, I know that at least for karaoke and stuff like that, or even using like, YouTube music in the background for background music, they do have a YouTube account for that. So, I mean, honestly, just like I could see a slight investment into potentially just like making that like doing some movies with that or something, or even potentially buying or renting them, or at least maybe just renting them just for the virtue of it. And fuck, even I'll pay for the rent and for like some of that shit and stuff. There's a lot of movies for rent, especially like kind of old movies, that would be potentially good ideas and choices. Usually renting like a movie on YouTube, it's like between I don't know like $2, $3 to like 4 or 5 to $6. Newer movies are like more up there, like between like 10 to 15. But like if you're like Spaceballs, for example, like actually I probably could look it up right now. Yeah. Well, hi Mickey. Hi again. I straight up saw that little tail just like I just straight saw him scurry, bro. Here's Spaceball. Yeah. Watch with membership? Oh, well, you know what? I guess never mind. I mean, I can't really show what I'm trying to explain, but yeah, because YouTube will do this shit. Yeah, because it's like, oh, well, you could watch a movie, but sign up for HBO Max, or I guess Max now, or Cinemax. It's like, bruh. It's like, that's bunk. I mean, you can watch clips, I guess, but that's some bunk bullshit. That's bunk. That's bunk, son. Well, back to Halo. You can just have me in the background. Play some Halo and just have me in the background, bruh. You don't have to just be like, well, I'm out. Halo time. Have you ever heard of background noise? Background noise, son? I just privateer. You privateer. Yeah, fair enough. Nah, I need audio because I suck at video games low. I mean, how bad do you really suck at video? There ain't no way you suck at the video game that hard. And how would you need audio for that? Like, I mean, what, to hear like a little explosion that happened in front of you? I mean, low key though, I'm sitting there like, well, actually, I can't even fucking I can't even bitch on that because there's been a few times I try to like keep the volume down while playing some games late at night, and I will, I can't even fuck front. What am I even trying to say, bro? You know what? I rescind the rant I was about to get into. I started it, but I was like, you know what? I can't even front. I can't even front. It took me over an hour to win the second half of the Arbiter level. Over an hour, my dude? Especially the Flood. The Flood are noisy asshats. That's true. Yeah. It's like that tunnel vision. Focus. Focus. It needs more focus. You know what? I totally get it. Yeah, I'm bad. Well, I mean, I could get it, though, when it comes to at least, detecting with noise and shit. Especially when you got, like, some surround sound or, like, 360 sound shit. Dude, that shit is weirdly enlightening as fuck, bro. Like, that blows your mind when you can, like, got that shit going down. It's one thing when you just got, like, the noise, from, like, the speakers or, like, some earbuds. But when you got, like, some crazy 360 surround sound shit going on, that adds an extra level. Like, or, like, those big headphones, where you can kind of mute everything. And that adds an extra level to it, too. It's pretty dope. I love that shit. Well, at least I'll take a little pause myself here real quick and at least see what we can look at for tonight. See what little things are happening for the tube. Maybe let Micky the Rat give it time to migrate somewhere. So I can have you in house so I can capture your ass. I know he's over there. Bullshit. Where's Sukov? I know he's in the house somewhere. Where's this little turd? Oh my god, Mickey, you fucker! I saw you fucking bastard! Oh, I just saw this little fucker! He was right here! He was literally right there! God fuck! Micky the Rat, you fucking son of a bitch! Fucking he was literally right there and just like just hopped his little way, scurried off like a little fucker. Oh, I knew it. I knew he would get lured out by my presence not being here, little bastard. That that fucker, bro. I told you the fucking broader theme of the stream is gonna be Micky the Rat, dude. I know I've named a stream like this sometime last year when the day after I had to deal with Mickey. Oh, dude. I need to know. When did the arc of this happen? Let's see. I guess it doesn't recognize the fact I have that. Okay. I guess it doesn't acknowledge that. Okay. Zooks. Don't be doing that. Zukov. The fuck is his deal? What? The fuck's your deal, bro? Damn, bro. What? Fucking little boofball. Hey, Boofy McBoofson. Can I help you? Here, you want this? Want some beets? Or a pork bun? What do you want? Well, it doesn't matter. Come, okay. Hello. Aw, little face. Aw, little face. Come here. Come here. Or not. That works too. Sit. Good boy. Up. Good boy. Oh, such a good little bite. Just a bite. Here, can you catch this one? Are you ready? You were supposed to catch that. Oh, what's this? This is interesting. Not often a community post on YouTube strikes my interest. Military vet who went on to serve as a firefighter revealed in his obituary that he was gay, a secret he said he held his entire life. Colonel Edward Thomas Ryan died at age 85 on June 1st. Shit, literally on the first day of Pride. Well, yeah. I must tell you one more thing. I was gay all my life, through grade school, through high school, through college, through life. The obituary reads, Ryan's message continued, I'm sorry for not having the courage to come out as gay. I was afraid of being ostracized by family, friends, and coworkers, seeing how people like me were treated. I just could not do it. Now my secret is known. I'll forever rest in peace. Damn, dude. Damn. I mean, that's kind of, hey, the reason why pride is still a thing, right? Because, even to this very day, you got people that, despite, a lot of the normalization broadly when it comes to, the courage to come out and the society, at least broadly, in a sense, society being able to accept, these virtues about people, whether they're being gay, trans, etc. But it's it just shows that there is still a fucking deep struggle with this shit, especially a place in the South and these hardcore conservative, bent places, and especially with even in more, accepted places, here in Portland, for example, or just Oregon broadly. You got a lot of these motherfuckers that, still ostracize and try to impress people just because they're gay and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's shit. For me, it's just it's one of those things where, I kind of feel bad that, it's not that he didn't necessarily have the courage. If anything, I would say that, he shouldn't be sorry. Society should be sorry for not being able to actually, give him the open hand, to feel comfortable. Whether it was his family, friends, or coworkers, or anyone else besides, to come out to who he was. And honestly, in a way, not literally everybody in society, but at least more as a broad level when it comes to more of the bigotry in society, that is what's to blame with this shit. I'm guessing it's a picture of the guy too. Seems like kind of a cool dude. And a colonel, so this guy had a recognized prolific military career too. You know, is there potentially a wiki on this guy? I would think so. I mean, usually when it comes to like officers, especially on like a level like a colonel, there sometimes are, you know, some basic information about people like that. At least, you know, when it comes to like a wiki or something, maybe. I'm kind of curious. Oh, first thing to pop up. A lot of articles and stuff like that. No wiki, though? I guess not. I guess maybe not every colonel, I suppose. You would think, but I guess not. What are you doing? Oh my god! Jesus! Ugh, I'm allergic to the fact that he doesn't have a wiki page. Blah. Blah. Yeah, let's see what we got going on here. Man, you know, I forget that Sundays have like fuck all going on. But at least I did find something a little interesting. So it's kind of a Hassan reaction, but you know, fuck it. Nothing else going on for now, right? Japan in 1960 was insane. You know what? That piques my interest because that sounds informative. That sounds like some stuff you could learn. Learn about some shit. I don't know too much about Japan outside of like, you know, certain little tidbits in like their more modern history and shit from like the Meiji period to today, but that's not a lot. I don't know much. So maybe I might learn some shit. Or if anything, maybe something that I do know might, you know, pop up. Who knows?
What is this? Japan in the 1960s was insane?
I received this afternoon a message from the Japanese government.
This sounds like MacArthur, because during this time, I'm pretty sure the occupied McCarthyist government of Japan was the thing still at this point.
This reply, the unconditional surrender of Japan.
Yep, MacArthur. I recognize that voice.
After World War II, where the world is suddenly changing really quickly, and Japan is being completely remade. Because armed with an unconditional surrender and the atomic bomb, America could do anything to Japan. But when soldiers under General Douglas MacArthur entered Tokyo, their assignment wasn't to punish the country that had just started a war that killed 30 million people.
The fudging of the numbers reminds me of why Japan has such a high conviction rate. Prosecutors only take cases they know they can win. No, they also can legally torture you for 38 days. That's why everyone always says, if you're ever arrested for a crime that you didn't even commit, it is literally easier for you to say that you did commit the crime. It's better for you to just admit guilt. Yeah.
Is that how, really? I know in America that's the case. I mean, like, but, well, maybe not overt literal torture, but like psychological elements of that, yeah. I've seen enough of this true crime, like, you know, interrogation shit, especially when people are actually innocent. You know, where I've seen these tactics, you know, even in a sense of just if someone is in the wrong and guilty, like due to negligence because of like, you know, cops just being stupid, abusive, fucking dumbasses, hogs. Like, I mean, that shit happens a lot, you know, like when it comes to that type of shit here in America, but like in Japan, like, oh fuck. Like they got like extra means of being able to like, you know, get shit out of you. Like, oh fuck, bro. I mean, I would think, you know, because of how, like regimented and, like, orderly, you know, things are in a sense. Like, you know, obviously they have, like, a severe punishment for that type of stuff, but I wouldn't think it would lead to, like, potential torture even if you are innocent of a crime.
Voluntary hold for 38 days, like, immediately. They can use that. Even if you're a tourist or an American, yes. The other side of it, though, is that if you're an American military member in Okinawa, for example, and you murk an entire Japanese family because you fell asleep on the wheel when you were driving around, and you do go to Japanese prison, America will extract you. America will...
Which is, yeah, I was about to say, didn't this happen? That sounded a little too oddly specific for that to just be some random thing he's just saying. Navy officer serving 3-year sentence in Japan for deadly crash is now in U.S. custody, his family says. That was back in 2023, which I imagine the incident, probably was in 2022 or the very early year of 2023.
Literally go, hey, by the way, you have to give him back to us. He's a family guy. What I'm describing to you literally happened not that long, a couple months ago.
Instead, they're tasked with
Someone just love the American military, folks. I love that little edit.
to rebuild Japan, and more importantly, to transform it into a peaceful democratic nation. And today, that's what Japan has become, a democrat.
Which actually, a fun little fact, at least when it comes to like a modernized like country, like, like the US, UK, Canada, Korea, Japan, etc. Like Japan, actually, funny enough, has the largest block of overt like Communist Party members within their government and shit. It's not a lot. It's like 4.5 something percent. But out of all like the far left like elements and influences that do find its way in like elements of different nations' governments in one way, shape, or form, like Japan's kind of got like a little flair of that happening over there, and they actually have a pretty rich history with like trade unionism and communism stuff in Japan, at least post-war, during like the 60s and 70s, and then. It's kind of why I clicked this, because I'm a little curious to see, if, like, what's said about that, because especially, like, during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was, like, a lot of hardcore, like, trade unions / like, socialists and college youth, based, like, uprisings / like, protests that went on a national level in Japan during that time. And it kind of kicked off during the 60s. I mean, I think it had, like, its... growth probably well before then, but it didn't really have like a foundation to really like sprout, up until post-war. I guess one of the few pros, I suppose, with the McCarthyist occupied government at the time, like with the democratization of Japan, like that is like, I guess, one of the few pros of it, where it did kind of give like a foundation for a lot of these alternative philosophies and ideologies and political movements to kind of, prosper a little bit. Because there was genuine, like, kind of some, merit and actual kindredship to these different alternative philosophies. Not everyone, obviously, wanted to just uphold to the obedient emperor shit, right? So, I mean, there was at least, certainly a segment of the population, whether left or right-leaning, wanted to kind of, like, break away from that in some way.
Country famous for its technology and innovation, and for its peacefulness. But this American transformation didn't happen overnight, and its success was far from guaranteed.
Oh shit. Yeah, I feel like, what I'm, was just mentioning might honestly kind of be maybe an overarching theme in some of this. Oops. Because, like, I mean, all in all, like, seeing some of those protests right there, that, like, I've seen videos of, like, from the 70s, 80s, of this same exact shit from, like, trade unionists and, like, socialists, like, college-leaning, like, youth members, all, like, side by side, doing their shit. Like, I mean, like, it seems pretty in tandem. Man, there was something about, like, the 60s where, like, there was, like, genuinely, like, this countercultural, like, push, in a way by, especially the youth, and I think a lot of people, because of, like, the traditionalist like views of that time, which a lot of them are still kind of around, I guess, but like back then had way more of a stronger grip, and there was really just like a very strong angst, not just in America with the civil rights movement during this time, but internationally too, because I mean, obviously Japan had their own shit, and at least during the 60s, with the history of Japan then, I don't really know too much about that, so be kind of interesting to learn, maybe like some stuff that's, going on around this time, especially, maybe it might be in tandem with, some of the stuff that was going on in the US, or maybe somewhere, like in the UK and shit, with the different, civil rights movements that were going on.
There was a time when anything was possible.
Democracies, when you have the same party run by the same familial lineage, dominate politics as a uniparty process in perpetuity. Have to rewrite your constitution. Notice how everybody chirps about China being a one-party state, but no smoke exists for any country that is within the sphere of influence. People will be like, oh, well, there's a democracy, there's other parties out there, there's a communist party out there. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
A time when leading politicians declared friendship with communists and swore opposition to America, when massive crowds dominated the streets of Tokyo, storming parliament, attacking American officials, and chanting,
No shit. Wait, what? This is during the 60s? I mean, I've heard some wild shit that happened during, like I said, like, I'm a little bit more rustic, but, a little more informed about, like, the 70s, 80s of this era, but apparently that shit's been going on, at least for a decade prior to this. Ooh. I can't wait to kind of learn something about this shit.
Yankee go home, when many believed Japan was on the verge of a socialist revolution. That is until this wave of resistance hit its final crescendo, when in 1 year, 3 enormous events combined to set Japan on the path to becoming the country we know today.
I hate to pause it so much, but at least for right now. I mean, because I'm just kind of like, trying to find out what to expect a little bit, but to learn that, like, Japan could have actually gone for a legit, like, almost like kind of like a social revolution in a way. Granted, probably, somewhat violent, but I imagine probably more peacefully with, like, general strikes and occupying parliament and stuff, right? But, like, I mean, shit. There's definitely, like, I never knew about that, so I'm really interested to hear about that chunk when that gets brought up.
A new treaty with America. Then, the largest protest in the country's modern history. And finally, a brutal samurai sword assassination televised.
Oh, I know about that. Oh, I know about the assassination. Dude, there's an infamous fucking picture of that guy, fucking about to, sling his blade into this dude's gut. Like, dude, I know exactly what's being mentioned there. Okay, so I know about that. A little bit. Like, I forgot the exact guy, the politician's name, and the guy who committed the assassination. But yeah, he had like a Katashi's samurai sword, like a short sword, and just ran up on stage and just fucking lunged it right in this dude's gut. Like before anyone could really react. Like, it was on live video. There's an infamous photo of literally like a fucking like fraction of a second before it goes right into his gut. Like a really cool but kind of eerie still frame of it. Like, dude, I mean, it might actually, that picture might come up, honestly, now that it's been mentioned. Like, I know there's going to be video and some pictures that might come up of that. Dude, that shit, like, is wild. I don't know all the details to it, but I do remember knowing about that and remembering, reading about that in the past.
For the entire country to witness. But these 3 events don't just explain why Japan is the way it is today, because this story actually helps explain a fundamental truth about why every society is the way it is. This is Japan 1960, the year that made a nation.
Typical gay incel fascist, dude. Like, the OG in many respects.
Is the year of blood.
I mean, I think he's talking about the guy who did the assassination. I don't know too much about the guy. I kind of forgot some of the details, but if I remember, I think the politician that was assassinated was like a leftist of the time, and so that does kind of strike with the assassination being done with a Katashi samurai sword, so like. Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, I forget some of the details. It'll come up. It'll come up. Eventually. We must restore security, dignity, and self-respect to a warrior nation which has suffered an annihilating defeat. Joe MacArthur, 1945. I don't know how I feel about that quote, but okay.
The American occupation of Japan began with nearly boundless idealism. Immediately, the political and military leaders responsible for the conflict were arrested, many charged with war crimes, while the emperor was forced to renounce his divinity and endorse a shockingly progressive constitution. This new founding document established Japan as a
cap on caps. The Japanese war criminals that are targeted and identified as war criminals were literally given amnesty as a direct consequence of the war crimes that they engaged in.
I was about to say that too, because, like, honestly, I was being like, oh yeah, we tried a bunch of Japanese war criminals. Bullfuck. No, we didn't. Well, kind of, but it was, like, in their favor. We gave them amnesty, and, like, there is a stark difference between how the Nazis were treated versus the Japanese when it came to their war tribunal trials and shit. There is, and it is fucked. Especially considering that the Japanese, like, honestly, even the Nazis thought they went too far. Like, Unit 731, there was, like, a German fucking, like, ambassador that happened to, like, hear about that and even see some of that shit and was like, yo, what the fuck? It was like, yo, this is gone too far, bro. Like, even they, even the Nazis themselves were like, yo, gone too far, bro. Yo, fam. We just like to, put them in chambers and then burn, and cremate them, once they're dead. Like, we don't do, like, this, like weird fucking insane, like, fucking give them fucking gangrene or whatever the fuck, the Black Plague and all such shit, like, biological, like, torture, warfare, whatever the fuck. It's like, Nazis did some fucked shit. I mean, for sure, at the end of the day, but again, like, it was a Care Bear shit in comparison to what, like, Unit 731 and what some of the Japanese did during the front lines on the war front, especially in China. Like, the rape of Nanking, I mean, the rape part of it is literally the least of it. I'm not even kidding. Like, that was the least of the fucking shit that was going on there. That was even, that in itself was fucking insane. Like, I mean, there's, like, a whole broader, like, deep social conditioning behind it all, fundamentally. Especially with that, I guess, warrior nation idea, so to speak. But, like, there was, like, well, in a way, there was, like, kind of a weird, distinct, like, difference of philosophy when it came to warfare, not just with the Navy, but with the Army. And a lot of what was going on with things like Unit 731, the rape of Nanking, all the egregious shit, that was with the Army. The Navy was a lot more of, like, academics, philosopher kind of types, and, intellectuals that, were a lot more withdrawal and reserved, and a lot more, like, I suppose, I guess, diplomatic, if anything, to a fault. So, like, and there was always bickering back and forth between, the Army and Navy officers and shit when it came to, like, logistics, strategy, etc. Like, they always were back and forth. And there was even, like, kind of like not like a literal, but kind of like a pseudo caste system between the two. Like, because the Navy literally saw the Army as, like, a bunch of, like, just the peasant, primitive, like, dumb, yokel fucks, that, just want to rape, kill, fucking pillage, which I guess kind of literally did, to be honest, and then some. So granted, maybe there was some truth to it, but, like, again, a lot of it was due to the social conditioning of, like, how these, of the cultural norms of how they treated, like, not only their, different branches in the military, but also in society too. And it was because of, like, this hardcore distinction, for, like, the emperor and, like, and their and the code of, it got kind of bastardized at least in World War II, but, like, the code of Bushido in a way. Like, there was this whole fucking, like, twisted, shit, that kind of get played in and brainwashed a lot of fucking people in that stuff. And I think, especially with this video, we'll learn from, especially from the little that I do know, is that, like, not everyone wanted this. And in fact, if anything, they kind of, probably a lot of these people just kind of went along to get along, in a sense. I mean, I don't necessarily blame them. It doesn't mean that they're innocent. But shit, it's like, when they have an opportunity to let their alternative, like, perspective sprout, it seems like it really shows, like, the underbelly of the flaws of, especially of their previous society, doesn't it?
American military thought it would be infinitely more useful not to waste all of their torture.
Especially if the occupied government pretty much literally just gives a free pass to these motherfuckers. And a lot of the people that have time to kind of reflect and maybe actually have a little bit more freedom of information to kind of understand what their own government was doing and what, like, happened and all that shit, so to speak, in World War II, at least given the times at that point. It's like, I mean, given all that shit, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised there was, like, this very strong angst, especially during the 70s and 80s, because a lot of the kids and the children that grew up during the 40s and the 50s and shit eventually became young adults by the time it was the 70s and the 80s, right? Like, so you already had this angst, growing and spewing it. And if a lot of those, people were like the uncles, the parents, the grandparents of a lot of those children growing up, shit, like, of course they're going to get inspired by them and be like, shit, like they were the first generation, in a long time here to have like a way to really express their voice outside of like, if not fucking like, commit seppuku because of the order of the emperor or whatever the fuck, or some shit. And it's just like, like, I mean, they, give an opportunity to really release that voice and release that angst and really kind of give the people there, an opportunity to show what they honestly really want to offer. I guess in a way is why you should see like, the Communist Party in Japan, like the Japanese Communist Party being the largest like leftist influence in Japan even to this day. As small as it is, granted, I mean, the fact that they even have like members in parliament and all this other shit, and even outside of like other communist parties and other leftist parties that do exist that do have some sort of a foot in the door when it comes to like that broader governmental politics and shit, like they even kind of are different from that. Like they're a lot more about like techno-communism stuff. Like they're about like, advanced technology and futurism stuff. Like I've kind of read in a little bit about their platform. It's actually pretty cool. Like they're actually generally kind of based. I kind of like them. Like, I mean, it's kind of worth at least, reading up about the Japanese Communist Party, honestly, especially at least the current platform that they got, because it's actually kind of cool.
Experimentation, Unit 731, specifically operating in Manchuria, that did a litany of war crimes, including testing what happens when you freeze someone to death, things like that. What we ended up doing basically was saying, yeah, you guys are war criminals, but if you give us this information, if you give us all the secret torture stuff and all the documents, if you show us like what you did as far as like biological warfare, biological weapons, which we will inevitably use against our, greatest enemy, which is communism.
Vietnam, Cambodia.
We won't arrest you and we won't prosecute you. That is a real thing. Many people often forget the dark side of Japanese history and their involvement in World War II.
Because the current government will literally whitewash the fuck out of it. Dude, Shinzo Abe, I don't even, I don't even give a fuck he was assassinated. As far as I care, fuck him. I don't even care. But, like, he literally, because here's one reason why. At least one example. He literally did a photo op on, like, some Japanese, I guess an American license, F-16 or whatever the fuck. Like, he was in, one of those Japanese, like, Air Force jets, and the number for like the squadron number was 731. Like he was literally rubbing it in, doing the peace sign, being like, in the cockpit of this plane with 731 blasted right on the side of it, painted on it. It's like as a number code for like the wingman number or like the squad number or whatever the fuck. Either way, it's like it was literally just like kind of like a subconscious or not implicit rubbing in like, yeah, we're aware that this unit existed in World War II. And you know what? We don't care. Fuck you. How about that? Like, that's literally what like the mentality was a little bit. Like, acknowledging that it's a thing, but kind of rubbing it in and doing a peace sign too. I mean, look the photo up, bro. It's so disgusting. It's like, you fuck. I wonder why, like, some dude literally, like, makeshifted some redneck get-a-rigged fucking shotgun to blast your ass, bitch. Like, I wonder why. Not saying it's necessarily right, but, am I gonna feel bad for it? Fuck no. I ain't gonna feel bad for his fucking piece of shit, conservative, totalitarian, fascist ass. Fuck him. War criminal denying piece of shit.
That, like, the Nazis were the only bad guys in town. Nope. The Japanese did Nazi-style experimentation in China.
Way worse than that. So that is putting it lightly. Like I said, the Nazis literally saw these motherfuckers like, yo, what we're doing is Care Bear shit. What the fuck you doing? Like, I mean, they were way worse.
So, like, the idea that, like, it was... There's been no better rebranding than, like, post-imperial Japan, post-World War II Japan. A country that was never... A country that basically never had to reckon with its violence and its crimes, its war crimes, specifically because, they were also victim to like a genuine crime, I would say. Two atom bombs kind of does that for you. It's pretty crazy. Plus, the subsequent American allegiance that came afterwards. Those two things played a major role. And
weirdly enough, I would be really interested to kind of maybe talk of a Japanese person who happens to maybe be a little defensive of like their nationalism, I suppose. I mean, I'm like, at least, with someone particular like that. Like, I mean, because it would be kind of interesting to, hear their perspective, I guess, directly about it, because, like, I know there is, like, this really rich history of challenging, like, this nationalism in Japan that is from their own people and from their own movements directly. So it's just, like, I mean, it'd be really interesting for me to, like, maybe kind of pick the mind of one of, someone like that, to be like, hey, like, I mean, even with these acknowledgements, these others, like, or even if you disagree with it, you can at least acknowledge it and understand, like, there's a reason why people are against that, and want to at least be honest with, like, the history of the country, even if maybe, like you said, or I'd assume, what they would say is, like, it's fine or justified because of X, Y, or Z or some shit, right? It's like, you have to at least acknowledge it's like, there's, maybe it's flawed or some shit to, that perspective, but it's like, you gotta at least admit, it's like, there's people in your own country that, want to see a difference that doesn't necessarily, downplay even the wrongs of, the history of, their own nation. Because I sure shit don't. I mean, that goes, across the board. Not just for Japan. That goes across the board. There's got a lot of these type of people who are like hardcore nationalists that will literally downplay every wrong in their, nation's history just to fucking make themselves feel good or whatever the fuck, or make, or something, whatever, right? Like, you get it all the time. You get your fair share of these motherfuckers here in America. Talk to them all the time. And they're a dime a dozen out here. So, sure shit, anywhere else, right? Like, I mean, Japan ain't no exception.
I'm not even joking when I say this, anime. Like, literally. The fire bombings of Tokyo, the fire bombings of, like, densely populated civilian areas, and the two atom bombs being deployed on top of, again, densely populated civilian areas, made people really go, you know what, I guess they did all the war crimes, but, they did get war crime themselves, so it's fine, I guess.
Liberal democracy, of course, but it went further.
It went further with anime.
Guaranteeing equality between men and women, and enshrining the rights of workers to unionize and self-advocate. Measures
based
absent even from America's own constitution.
Which I think is fucking bullshit. Okay, you know what? Hold on. I didn't even really think about it, but yeah, what the fuck? We had an American-occupied government where we forced this constitution on them, which, granted, there's some base stuff in there like this, but it's absent from our own. That is some bullshit right there. Like, I know, like, unions and stuff like that weren't really a thing really yet, but, like, the proto element of that shit, before, like, trade unions and things, were, like, really hardcore, especially during, like, the 1800s and shit. Before then, it was trade guilds. So it's not like, this whole idea of union collectivized labor power wasn't, like, a new concept or something. It was around for a while, like, just under the concept of trading guilds. Like, I mean, you had these different guilds, that would exist, that would be there to uplift a lot of, these different workers of specific trades, like, blacksmith guilds, or, like, bard guilds, whatever the fuck, right? Like, I mean, that was, like, a dime a dozen. So, I mean, it's just, like, that whole concept expanded, especially considering that the times, eventually were changing. Because it wasn't, like, the whole medieval style, like, era where guilds, were more, contemporary for that time. Things had to change a little bit. And that's where, like, union and labor power really started to become more prominent. And yeah, granted, during the inception of America's Constitution, that wasn't a thing yet, but hey, Constitution could be amended, right? And you would think it would have been, something that could have been amended in the future, but kind of convenient that it never ever did, huh? Kind of convenient that has always been the case.
At the same time, large farms were divided.
I just learned about what Japan did in World War II in class. I've been shaking and crying ever since. This isn't the Sugoi Japan I know. This can't be real! Japan would never do that! I know from anime that Japan would never do this! No!
And we got a picture. A Japanese off. What the fuck is happening? Oh my god. I don't even want to know what's happening here, bro. Oh my god. This is like literally Unit 731 shit. What's happening here? Bro, I already know what's about to happen after this photo was taken, dude. Bruh. What the fuck is going on here, man? But yeah, let's give amnesty and fucking just like, excuse the war crimes of Japan, right? Granted, the Nazis literally did the exact same shit. Instead of a Nambu pistol, it'd be a Walther P38 or a fucking P08 Luger. But either way. And also, I would not trust a Nambu pistol for a fucking lick of a dick, dude. Those things had a tendency to literally explode in your hand. Those things were shitty, dude. Fuck that. I would not want to use that. Ugh. Anyway, get back to the clip, Hassan, you fuck. You bastard. Ah! Get back. There we go. There we go.
Ballistic corporations were slated to be broken up. Old, hierarchical Japan was quickly giving way to a new, democratic Japan. But perhaps the biggest break from the past was the Constitution's Article 9. The Japanese people forever renounce war as a sovereign right. Land, sea, and air forces, as well as other war potential, will never be maintained.
Really? So that was actually something, that the Japanese government actually had as a part of the ethos? They have a sovereign right to war? Okay, well, man, I never knew that. That would have probably explained a lot of their very imperialistic, tendencies, I suppose.
These were massive, controversial, so...
There's a little bit unless...
I mean, yeah, there is a little bit of that, but also at the same time, I'm a little shocked that there's we have a right to the sovereignty of wars. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
It's like,
you know what? Kind of good that they had to kind of renounce that. I mean, I will admit that. I mean, Jesus.
Much larger developing hegemonic power in the region that we are trying to compete against and we're very afraid of, in which case we will allow Japan to redevelop its military capabilities, even personally, beyond the fact that we treat the island nation as a goddamn unsinkable aircraft carrier. Interesting. There was another group of Axis nations out there that we also demilitarized by force.
What the fuck is the editor for this? Because it feels like there's a weird jump in between the ramblings of Hassan. I get that he rambles a lot, but Jesus, the cuts feel very abrupt. It's actually kind of it's disrupted the flow.
And then turned around and are now allowing to basically remilitarize. Surely nothing crazy will happen.
Social.
Well, I mean, they haven't really hardcore. I mean, they've been trying to eventually kind of reestablish the military because they have the Japanese Defense Force or the Security Force or whatever it's called. I forgot exactly what it's called. It's it's the Japanese. What is it? Japanese. It's the JD something F or some shit like that. Whatever. I mean, point being, this kind of the excuse of pretty much having a standing army, even though it's not really an official military army, so to speak. It's kind of their excuse for it. But, I mean, lately, especially in the last couple decades, at least, since, post-2000s era for sure, they've been trying to kind of officially reestablish a military in a way. And a lot of it kind of has to do with the forced constitution that the US Gov kind of, pushed, on the Japanese. But in a way, I suppose, there's I don't know. I suppose I'm starting to see maybe a slight silver lining to this, McCarthyist constitution, because there's at least a few base things in there. I will grant that. But I just kind of feel the idea of MacArthur, being the head of all this is just fucking ridiculous and shouldn't have been a full-on to McCarthyist kind of dictatorship in a way. And also, like, YouTube keeps recommending to me a movie about this whole thing with MacArthur and shit called, was it The Emperor? Like, about McCarthy's time as, I guess, the de jure, like, leader of Japan for a time. And I don't even know if I've been, like, debating in my head whether to watch it or not, because it's free on YouTube, so I'm just like, should I watch it? I might just say fucking watch it, because, like, I have a feeling it's just going to paint him as, like, oh, well, he did the good, blah, blah, blah. It's like, knowing this motherfucker. He literally wanted to, like, have a radiation belt around fucking Korea, for fuck's sake. Like, he wanted to, like, nuke the shit out of Korea. When it came to the Korean War. Like, he's a psycho and a fucking dipshit and a really, honestly, terrible tactician. He's not really a good guy. Like, I mean, and honestly, not really that good of a general either. He's not really great. He's pretty terrible. And I kind of hate how he's so propped up in history, even though he's kind of shitty. It's like, ugh. I mean, even Patton at least, fucking has some proper fucking strategy and knew how to win a battle. At least, he's got some shit going for him, even though he's also a lunatic in his own right. I mean, but fuck. It's like, I mean, McCarthy really don't got much going for him. I mean, honestly, he really doesn't. He really is legit kind of a terrible tactician. Not really that great as a general or a leader. I shall return as I fucking run away with my tail tucked between the legs, Guadalcanal, abandoning a bunch of Americans and fucking leaving them to literally fucking just like starve and die and fucking die of disease-ridden malaria and shit. It's like, good lord, what a fuckbag, dude. I mean, he's just genuinely a terrible person. Not even a good general, not a good tactician, not a good leader. He's just not good. He's just terrible across the borders. I can't think of much, to say positive about him. Outside, he had a good aesthetic. Like, yeah, the aviators and that fucking little, like, cop pipe or whatever the fuck he had. It's like, yeah, he had a little aesthetic to him, but that's literally all he had. Like, that's it. Other than that, he was just terrible. Just a fuckwit. Ugh. I hate how he's so propped up in, like, in American history and shit. Ugh. Especially of how terrible he is. If you actually, like, learn about him, ugh, shitty.
Changes, but despite some discontent, Japan's path to democratic modernity seemed clear, until one day, everything changed.
Here in Russia, you've seen why we're spending billions of dollars in defense production.
Communism was spreading, and suddenly, America was no longer basking in the post-war glow of victory. A new war was on, the Cold War. Idealism vanished. Instead of a progressive democracy, Washington now needed a forward military base with a stable, friendly government. Most of the war-era leaders, experienced and reliably anti-communist, were suddenly pardoned and allowed to seek political office.
Weird how that worked out, didn't it? Huh. Curious. Yeah, let's pardon a bunch of literal barbaric fucking savage war criminal fucks, just because they happen to be anti-communists. We did that with the Nazis too, by the way. There was literal overt Nazis that were literally running fucking death camps and shit that ran political office and ran as like mayors, fucking like, local provisional, like, senators or whatever the fuck and all that shit in West Germany, by the way. But the West Germans, weren't, fucking into that either by the, all in all, by and by. Did the same shit there. And, frankly, East Germans, to a lesser extent, did the same thing. A lot of the fucking, National Volksarmy in East Germany were led by former Nazi generals and Wehrmacht generals and shit. Granted, a lot of them had more sympathies, towards reform / like anti-Nazi sentiment, but they pardoned their own Nazis and they allowed them to be there because they just happened to be good tacticians or this and that, or just happened to be useful. And the West was pretty open about that shit too. I mean, no one was fucking innocent when it came to pardoning these motherfuckers. Whether in Japan, when it came to America, or when it came to, like, the Nazis, when it came to the East and the West. Like, I mean, no one was fucking innocent with this shit. I mean, yeah, we fucking, made sure that certain war criminals, fucking had their piece. But not all of them. And it never went far enough.
You renounced their wartime actions. Instead, communists were now purged from the government, and many progressive policies favoring organized labor and the breakup of monopolies were abandoned, even reversed. Article 9 remained in force, but America...
And this would explain, honestly, my knowledge about the growing sentiment with a lot of the, communist trade unionists uprising and stuff during the 70s and 80s because of probably of this.
It allowed the formation of a small pseudo-military, the Japan Self-Defense Force.
This is what I was having an issue with earlier, the JSDF. Yeah, the Self-Defense Force. Yeah, okay, well, there we go. The pseudo-military. This is what I was talking about from earlier.
What came next, however, was downright humiliating. As a condition of the occupation's end, America proposed a treaty. It stipulated the American military could freely station and move troops throughout.
I was gonna say,
yeah, Okinawa, Kyoto, Tokyo, like, we have military bases all over that bitch. Like, I mean, honestly, the reason why, like, at least in some part, Japan doesn't have a military is because we're their military. That's why. Like, straight up. I mean, honestly, there's, like, like, classes, that soldiers will take, especially, like, the USMC or the Navy, where it'll be like, hey, here's how you specifically act in Japan, because you're more than likely 90% chance going to be stationed there. And even my friend Amado, who was in the Army, actually got stationed in Japan once. For a short time, but, for a little bit. At least, after some of his tours in Iraq and shit, from what I understand. So, all in all, it's like, they will literally be like, here's like kind of like the social norms, here's, cultural norms that you should learn about, so you don't accidentally fuck up and look like a dumbass in front of everybody kind of shit, Like, I mean, it's, kind of like just learn the basic, social respect kind of stuff, right? Like, because obviously, like, how you act here in the U.S. and like some bar in, Kentucky or some shit is going to be way different than hanging out at a pub, potentially in Kyoto or some shit, right? Like, so there's a major difference there. Like, I mean, it's not like you still can't have your fun, but, understand like what the boundaries are kind of shit, right? Like, which, like, hey, I think, whether a tourist, service member, or anything otherwise, I think that is a good idea to kind of learn about. Like, hey, what's the customs and the culture around here? Like, I mean, if you're going to visit there, I mean, for fuck's sake, I mean, shouldn't you learn about that, especially at least, preemptively before you go there? Like, that would be a good idea, potentially, so, like, I mean, they'll do that shit. I mean, not just, for, like, Japan, but, like, really anywhere, but, like, there's kind of, like, a less of an emphasis, like, if you're being stationed in, like, some U.S. base in Frankfurt or some shit, right? Like, I mean, there's not really much of a need to, like, you need to learn the German culture and the custom. It's like, dude, like, the German population is probably drinking more beer than the average fucking, like, 20-year-old USMC service member being over there, okay? Like, I mean, fuck. Like, that's their fucking water, okay? Like, I mean, I'm sure things are gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you most of those fucking Germans are drinking our service members under the table every time. So, like, whatever, I think there's less of emphasis there. But, like, going to Japan or maybe Korea or anywhere else, or, like, shit, even being stationed in, like, a military base that we probably still got fucking people in. Like, I actually know for a fact, places like in Iraq and shit, it's like, yeah, things are going to be a little different there. And they gotta, like, understand, like, what they're kind of getting into, in a sense. Even if it might be kind of benign or potentially dangerous, like if they're going to Iraq or whatever, right? Like, but either way, it's just like, there's kind of an understanding of, like, you gotta learn about that shit. Regardless if it's, like, just, like, whether it's going to Germany or Japan or wherever, like, I mean, because you're going to be stationed wherever, because America's got, like, fuck you amount of military bases all over the world. So, I mean, you could literally be stationed anywhere. Especially when it comes to, like, Japan and stuff, like, I keep hearing, especially with what was mentioned earlier, it's like, with the service member that killed a bunch of people, in a car crash, I think, and had, like, a 3-year sentence there, but the U.S. was like, oh, he's our boy, get him back, give him back, bitch, and just, like, basically pardoned his ass, essentially. He served this little slap on the wrist, but then he came back to America where he sure as shit wasn't gonna get punished. Maybe he might get punished as a service member with, like, a dishonorable discharge or some shit like that for making the U.S. military look bad or whatever. But beyond that, like, he ain't getting fucking punished. He might not get his pension as a fucking service member, but that's about as far as it's going. Which is fucked. I mean, how the U.S. treats like a lot of our allies, quote unquote, honestly, as sad as it kind of is. Because I would love to see these nations as genuine allies, but to the U.S. government, they're just assets. Or just like gigantic, unsinkable carriers and military bases, basically. It's like, I mean, it's fucked because, like, I mean, shit. Like, and actually, like, I mean, because a lot of this type of stuff could probably be avoided if we just didn't really see them as just like, oh, yeah, we're in our place over here. And you know what? Might be visitors, but you know what? Because you're in our backyard in our little hub here, fuck it. We could do what we want. It's like, that's just ridiculous. And it's insane. There should be, like, a genuine, way more respectful partnership here instead of this imbalanced dynamic that the U.S. has with, our allies and shit, whether in quotes or otherwise. Because, like, it is kind of bullshit. Because, I mean, these stories happen all the time. I mean, there's, like, a lot of stories about, like, vets getting into trouble, or not vets, but, well, maybe vets, but also, like, active service members that will get in trouble in places like in Korea, even places like in Germany, or, like, Indonesia, fucking, like in Iraq or wherever the fuck, literally just because they acted too much like a dumb fuck. And just, weren't, like it just didn't, respect the basic, social norms, so to speak. And, it's like run around Caesar, so to speak. Do as the Romans do. It's like, yeah, you might not inherently like it entirely, but if you're supposed to be a service member, especially, at least in this case, in this context, and you're not just representing yourself. Like, you're a service member. Like, you're technically on the clock for all intents and purposes. Even if you're on a little leave and having a drink at the end of the night because you want to. Like, because you want to go to the town that's, like, 5 minutes out. Like, I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter. You still are representing something there. And you still have to have, like, some basic decorum there. I mean, it's not just as simple as being, like, some silly yak jog tourist.
It's a good thing that the occupation in Japan ended, which is why we don't have military bases all around the island nation. Or, our wonderful crayon enjoyers can go and get drunk and drunk drive and kill Japanese families, or get drunk and drunk drive and then go rape, Japanese women, only to face very little repercussion, if at all. Good thing we ended that occupation, and we certainly would never do that.
Japan.
Oh, never. Not just in Japan. That never happens anywhere at all. No, no, no.
Without being under any obligation to defend the country in the event of an attack. And the treaty had no...
Okinawa's so cooked, they drive on the right side there, bro. Think about that. The rest of Japan drives on the left side of the road. Okinawa, they drive on the right side, Think about that shit.
I mean, that isn't... Well, I guess that might make sense, there. But honestly, there are some places, like in Iceland, for example, that still drive on the right side of the road. And do that in time of shit. I mean, America ain't the only place that does that, okay, Hassan? All right, I love you, bro, but we ain't the only place that does that.
They don't? Yes, they do, don't they? I thought they do on the on Oka.
Actually, yes, they do, because my mom has a family friend that lives in Okinawa, actually, and is a dual citizen of America and Japan. And yeah, there specifically, yes, they do. So that is, he isn't actually wrong. Yes, I mean, maybe they might have did some enforcement of traffic laws and might have changed that sense, but I don't know. I don't think so. As far as I'm aware, that is actually the case.
Look, unlike the United States, people drive on the left side of the road, the slow lane, driving in Okinawa on the fast lane on the right, although the slow lane is on the left and the fast lane is on the right, although there isn't usually a significant difference between either.
Okinawa
offers a distinct driving experience. Unlike the United States, people drive on the left side of the road. Wait, this is saying driving in Okinawa, people drive on the left side of the road. Like the rest of Japan, Okinawas drive on the left side of the road and an international driver's license. Okay, maybe I was baited.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just regional in Okinawa, because Okinawa is a fucking big island. It also has, smaller, little islands off of it. So, maybe it's a regional thing. Because at least, I know there are some towns in Okinawa where they just kind of have to accept that. Like, you got, frankly, dumb fucking Americans that might have like a little like tourist car that are driving around because they're used to a little Alabama town, driving on the right side. It's like, so I don't know. Maybe it's a regional thing or something. I don't fucking know. Wait, when traffic patterns switched overnight, this prefecture was ready. Well, you know what? At least with that article headline, it sounds like that it was like that, but they enforced, so like, can we not? Wait, what the hell? 731. What? What the? Do they really love rubbing that in, do they? What the fuck? Even on like some random bullshit like this, they gotta rub it in. What the fuck? Are we serious? Okay, there guys to really be like, Japan as a nation needs to huddle up and just figure out what the fuck they gotta do about that, okay? Like, straight up. Yo, Japan, let me just tell you as coach real quick here. As a wild boy. Let me explain as a white cracker jack barrel myself. Like, I mean, y'all need to huddle up and figure out this shit, man. Like, cause goddamn. Like, what the fuck? Even on some random thing that has fuck all to do with, like, war crimes, you still gotta rub it in, man? Like, God. Figure your shit out about that. Like, acknowledge it or don't and just shut the fuck up and pretend it never happened. Quit rubbing it in like a freak. Holy shit. Bruh. Yo, like, really?
Traffic pattern switched overnight. This prefecture was ready. Wait, what?
Alright, fuck this unlock. Get back to the shit. Oh my god, he really went on this for a minute, did he? Bro. I love you, Hassan, but holy shit.
Anyway, let's continue.
Expiration date. Japan had no choice but to accept. So by the time the American occupation ended in 1952, a lot of the early progress made restoring security, dignity, and self-respect to a new democratic Japan had been undone. This security treaty was humiliating, and it caused a serious identity crisis, as Japan was torn between that initial post-war optimism and a new Cold War pessimism, where nothing mattered except stability and anti-communism. A context.
Why am I shocked? Why am I shocked at all? Man, there is such an overlap with that when it comes to like this whole Cold War thing, because it wasn't just strictly like a European conflict when it came to the Cold War and its proxies in Africa and like the Middle East and shit. Like, this was all over the fucking globe. This idea of like, oh, this trade unionism, socialism, like, workers, like upliftment / uprising kind of philosophy and mentality, and any ideology that even remotely gets, proactive in that type of idea needs to be squashed in the fucking mud. Like, this McCarthyism was so, like, this shows how strong McCarthyism really was, doesn't it? Because, like, it wasn't just in America, it wasn't just in the UK, or, like, the Warsaw Pact and NATO and shit. This was a global fucking influence that went everywhere. And of course, being, at least at this point, a puppet state to America, like, it's seeing that, like, a lot of the governmental apparatus, enforcing this type of shit is not surprising at all. Like, honestly, I guess in a weird way, because of the occupied American government, or the occupied McCarthyist government of Japan and shit, like, because of that, like, there's kind of a weird, like, tandem relationship with, like, Japan's, like, mid to late 20th century history to America's in a way, because of how closely, like, their government reacted to what we did, because they were a puppet of ours. Like, whatever we did, they followed, kind of thing. So it's just like, I kind of find, it interesting, but kind of sad and eerie that, like, there's such kind of a weird close alignment with that. Honestly, it's why I love Japan in a way, because like because of history like this. I mean, honestly, and that, and plus like a lot of it's older history beyond that. I guess outside of World War II, really, like fuck that. But anything beyond that is like, it really is fascinating and really cool to me. And there's a lot of really interesting shit about like Japan that is really fucking cool. You know, and especially with like this like mid to late 20th century history, you know, that's more contemporary and stuff. Like there's some really cool stuff, you know, that I'm a little rustic on, but hey, you know, like there's a little overlap of knowledge here. I find the video footage especially really fucking cool. And honestly, I thought this guy was pointing a finger, but no, he's got a fucking Walther. What is that? A PKK maybe? Walther PKK or something like that, like a James Bond gun.
Over the fundamental question of what kind of nation Japan was going to be. Before we go any further, I just want to take a second to thank a great friend of the channel.
Oh my god, sponsorship. Alright, I guess we're skipping more. Skippeth. Well, man, I kind of like this channel, so maybe I'll check this channel out in the future. But wait, oh shit. Wait, hold up. Did he like slide the sponsorship and now he's just like, hey, back to the video while I'm still on screen. Is he doing that? Ah, shit, hold on.
In the Diet, Japan's parliament.
Fuck, he is! God damn it. Okay, where does he go back into this? Son of a bitch. Right here?
Any desk. So, Japan
okay.
is gripped by an identity crisis. Two images show who was winning this fight by 1960 in the Diet, Japan's parliament. This shows how many seats each party controlled after the 1955 election.
I thought it was the Diet. Like, diet? Hey, white boy. I mean, if you're gonna... Is that actually how it's pronounced? Maybe I'm being the white boy.
These are the two biggest parties, the Liberals and Democrats. They're both conservative, and they're totally dominant. But here...
Sounds like the Democratic Party today.
Diet after the next election. The two biggest parties are just gone. Except they're really just hiding, because this is the Liberal Democratic Party, a sort of conservative super party formed in a merger that was actually organized in part.
Yeah, Shinzo Abe was part of this party. And unlike in the United States where the Liberal Democratic Party, the Democrats are supposed to be kind of at least liberal. And, granted, I guess some of them are to some level or another. And, there are some that actually straight up are. But, like, in Japan, nope. This is basically the Republicans. like, these are the Republicans in Japan.
The CIA, who wanted Japan's anti-communist parties to...
Why does the CIA always have to be involved in things like this? See that little pop-up? Oh, yeah, by the way, the CIA was involved. Huh, weird. Why is that such a coinkydink?
forces. Heading up the new party was this guy, Nobusuke Kishi, a war criminal and former minister in the wartime government by 1950.
Shocker! Wow, the CIA literally propped up a war criminal? Wow, color me shocked.
He was prime minister, and he had two core goals.
Oh, and a prime minister to boot on top of that. Wow, who would have thunk?
First, revise the Constitution, eliminate Article 9, and remilitarize Japan. And second, renegotiate the humiliating security treaty with America. Now, treaty renegotiation was widely popular in Japan, not just with the right wing. So when Kishi, after 3 years of haggling with the American government, secured key concessions, mandated consultation with the Japanese government about American troop movements, a defense commitment from America for Japan, and a 10-year term of treaty renewal rather than it being indefinite, he expected to be hailed as a hero. But there were two problems. While treaty renegotiation was widely popular, revising the Constitution was anything but. Most Japanese wanted nothing to do with war, and eliminating Article 9 to remilitarize...
I mean, considering World War II and then the bombs that fell and all that shit, I mean, not surprised.
The country threatened a return to those dark days. Moreover, Kishi wasn't a hero. He was a horrible man who'd helped steer Japan...
Well, he was a war criminal too, shocker.
...into a devastating war from which he massive...
Bro, good thing that, like, it was a one-and-done type situation, and I'm certain that the LDP doesn't have, like, prominence, nor did he have his, like, children or grandchildren, for example, also run the country. That would never happen in a democratic nation. Japan obviously is Sugoi, it's kawaii. It is a beacon, a shining light of democracy. So, like, if I were to find out that, like, they've been basically operating under...
Hey, what's up, Logan? I'll pick you up too. Hold up. What? Oh shit! Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go back. Wait. Yo, come through, play pool. I'm here playing pool. Oh, wait, you at the Wichita? Buy you whiskey, Coke. I'll pick us up too. You stream our game. Yep. Well, I mean, I'm learning about Japan too. I already have a feeling I might have to do a two-parter on this like little cool video anyway. But I mean, shit. Let's do it. Well, I'm still good. Well, you know what? All right. I'll say this: if you do really come by here, I'll say fuck it. But I'm gonna keep watching this until then. But like I said, I'll let you decide. If you come down here, I'll say fuck it. I got my pool stick, so I can. I'll come through. Okay, well, I guess okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll at least try to watch what I can, as much as I can. I'll see if I can at least try to get to the 30-minute mark, and then I'll feel a little satisfied.
Uniparty structure. For multiple generations, like, I would be shocked. Multiple generations of people who either did the war crimes or denied the war crimes ever happened.
Okay, Sonya, you're kind of going on what I'm talking about. I love a song, but I mean, I've already, kind of talked about what he's already talking about.
Saying for Turkey, it's irrelevant and ridiculous. Obviously, for America,
he literally derails into talking about Turkey and their war criminals and also. Just see this one. Okay, I love you, Hassan, but oh my god, bro.
Very necessary. Anyway, let's continue.
Simply profited while the rest of the country suffered. He was also just elitist, arrogant, and corrupt.
Wow, sounds like most politicians pretty much everywhere, sadly, but very exceptional for this motherfucker, too, I imagine. I want to learn about this guy a little bit. Namogosuzi Kishi. Like, this guy sounds like a fuck. Like, just straight up a fuck.
Openly disdained the media and the Japanese public as beneath him and centralized power in an inner circle of allies. Under Kishi, many feared a comeback of the old Japan. As a result, he'd galvanized not only the left, but a wide swath of Japanese...
Basically, it does...
It's as if that if you have, like, an elitist, like, power dynamic in your government, that you should probably, like, galvanize your people, especially amongst the left. But, amongst, all, when it comes to, like, an elite, corrupt piece of shit, detached fuck. And also, by the way, this guy literally looks like a peepaw poopy pants. This guy looks like... Dude, when was he prime minister? Like, 70? Was he 70 fucking years old? Like, was he a peepaw poopy pants, bro? He literally looks like a peepaw poopy pants. Like, we got peepaw poopy pants and then peepaw doopy pants, fucking running against each other. And then you got this motherfucker who looks like a peepaw poopy pants in his own fucking right. Dude, I mean, I'm starting to notice a commonality and an analogy kind of thing going on here now at this point. I'm starting to notice a little analogy with this thing.
As a result, he'd galvanized not only the left, but a wide swath of Japanese...
Basically, it doesn't matter if, like, we only criticize China for this kind of shit because, like, China is our enemy, and also they're, like...
I mean, shit, I would take a little criticism to America at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, look, I grant that. I mean, like, because, look, China... Like, I get the idea of China bad, and, look, China bad. China bad. China's government bad. Fuck that shit. But it's like the idea that they're like the biggest ultimate evil is kind of a little silly, especially like considering the analogy of like the influence of America in most recent history and contemporary now. It's like it's a little silly to say that like they're somehow like the most ultimate fucking evil outside of maybe Russia or some shit when we got this as our track record. It's like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, look, they certainly are, up there on the roster of being like the top 5 worst fucks, to exist in most recent history for sure. I ain't gonna doubt about that. But it's like, not to like, fucking hammer that, oh, America bad kind of thing, but it's like, we got a fucking fat track record of this shit, especially in the last 100 years. So it's like, it's kind of hard to argue like somehow anyone else is worse. It's like, yeah, look, there's fuck shit, especially in the contemporary, times now, in the present day, for sure. I ain't gonna dog on that. You got like, the Ukraine war, and you got like, the Uyghur genocide in China and all this other shit, and they're like constant fucking posturing with Taiwan and all this other bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Like, you got all these issues for sure, but it's just like, like, I mean, yeah, these are more present things, and they've been only, coming, in the more recent times, so to speak, when it comes to these issues. It's not to undermine that shit, because they are present, and if anything, should be highlighted as, permanent issues, concurrently, but like, or permanent issues, but it's just like, I mean, again, it's the track record. It's, it's like like when you got a rap sheet that's this fucking thick, it's like thicker than a Bible, versus some of these other countries that are growing their rap sheet for sure, getting about as thick as the Bible and then some, in their own right. I mean, it's like, you still got to look at our own rap sheet, and it's thicker than the fucking Bible. At least we, as the United States government, in the United States as a conglomerate. Not necessarily within the people in the citizenry, but broadly, at least when it comes to, the government apparatus, when it looks at geopolitics, at least historically, especially when it comes to shit like this.
Logically claiming to be communist. If they were built by the CIA and saying they hate communists and were built by the CIA specifically to kill communists, then obviously no one will be complaining about China and their political organization. Okay, that's it.
Society against him. And when he attempted to force through legislation expanding police powers to stifle this widespread public dissent, protesters took to the streets and forced him to back down. By January of 1960, even though he'd seriously improved the treaty terms, nobody trusted him, and mass resistance was guaranteed. Instead of calming things down, Kishi had fired the country up to fight for Japan's future.
Well, we really
stand back and stand by. We're going to do tremendous things. We're going to crack down on the crime, ladies and gentlemen. Was this like literally like a fucking Japanese Trump of the era? Was this like a 1960s Japanese Trump? Or like a Japanese Bush or something? Because like, bruh, certainly sounds like one.
Really fell off, dude. We unironically fell off, like, big time, okay? Like, we used to write other countries' constitutions and shit. Like, think about that. There is no world, like, we can't even command influence over Afghanistan for more than 20 years. That's pretty crazy to think about. Like, we just sit around and hope that there's, like, a Javier Milei type figure who is going to be an Ameribu in and of itself nowadays. Like, it doesn't have to be a CIA operator.
Like Bolsonaro or that weird psycho, like what, granddaughter or like cousin or like grand cousin or whatever, like the literal like relative of Mussolini, the weird fascist bitch, in fucking Italy right now. Got Orban, like, yeah, you don't really need to say no more. I mean, these motherfuckers just kind of like sprout in their own right these days. I mean, I suppose like, because of the CIA in a way, I mean, but like now because of that influence and in that like, precedent, like, I mean, they just kind of prop naturally up nowadays.
Back in the day,
honestly, it's kind of interesting that a lot of these like, like social conservative and hardcore nationalists and like either proto or just outright fascists and shit that tend to prop up in these different countries. I don't know if it's just me, but like it feels like a lot of these countries or a lot of these type of people that are like kind of propping up, these days tend to be countries historically or the CIA tend to kind of put its little weird claws into. And, decide to put its, like, weird drooling fucking, maw, into its fucking, gullet and shit, right? Like, it just seems like kind of a weird little quink and dink, in my mind. Not saying the CIA has any, any direct influence to that now. Maybe it does. But at least historically, it seems like because of the precedent and their influence historically, they kind of, left a foundation for a lot of these movements, to kind of sprout naturally in their own right. And honestly, I mean, maybe in a way, especially when it comes to, like, the Brotherhood of Italy party, at least when it comes to that weird, crazy psycho bitch, like, that party literally was, like, a way to kind of, deflect from their fascist past as, like, literally being the part, the fascist party of Italy or whatever the hell it was called prior to it. Like, it was literally meant to be a rebranding of the fascist party of Italy. Like, that was basically what it was, and it's always been that way. Like, so at least there's already kind of like a natural bent to it, but the CIA started propping the fuck up. I mean, especially considering there was, like, legit, I think, like, a borderline civil war that was about to happen in Italy before, like, the CIA decided to meddle in the affairs of that shit and fucking then quash, a lot of the communist trade unions and, pro-worker, liberators at that time, to fucking kind of see Italy today, in a way. And, hey, you think Japan ain't no different? Am I right now? She...
A Javier Milei type figure winning an election.
I'm just going to try to at least skip Hassan's rants. At least, just kind of look at the juice of the vids. What the fuck is my dad doing in the background? What are you doing? Oh, of course you are.
Because we were scared that the Philippines were going to be too close to China because they were giving them free vaccinations.
Sure was getting uglier.
Okay, I don't know what Ram Hassan was talking about. I might look at that later after the VOD or whatever. Because, okay, what?
But Kishi didn't care. He wanted to get the job done. Still, months of massive protests unnerved some LDP legislators, so he delayed the vote on the treaty until May 19th, the last day.
I know it's satire, but at this point you do complain a lot on how America doesn't interfere with developing nations of lava. No, I think it's an important thing to recognize in comparison to how unimaginably cruel. We are still unimaginably cruel. I mean, the thing that I just explained about the Philippines is unimaginably cruel. Okay? Like, that's insane. It sounds insane that we would do that. And yet we did. But, like, it's more so about how much weaker we are in general in comparison to how aggro we were back in the day and how much power we actually did command back in the day. Any man, guy?
Alright, there is at least a kernel of truth to that. Because honestly, like, a lot of our geopolitical power, we're basically consolidating that with, like, like, with the IP issue. You know what I mean by that? Like, and, with, like, very specific ties to, like, pretty much, like, our most loyal, like, either assets or actual allies, and so to speak. Like, whether because of, like, historical precedent of that or, otherwise and shit at this point. Like, a lot of our own, government and our own, like, nation geopolitically is basically just kind of like, nipping whatever strong, allyship we had in the past, to basically, into something where it's just like, like, oh, well, we'll just, like, stick to our most loyal assets, so to speak. I mean, because it seems like we're, at least geopolitically continue to isolate ourselves more and more. And there's some pros to that, I suppose, but there's also cons as well. Let's go. Oh, shit, you're already here. Motherfuck. All right, hold on. Give me a minute. Don't do that, because Zookup's going to be boofing and barking, and I don't need him acting up. But at least, look at, this video later. That's for sure. Hold on. Okay. You give me a goddamn minute, my bud. You're already getting Zukup fucking freaking out. Oh shit. Well, now you're in. It's a fucking. Boof, boof, boof.
Oh, I dropped my gum. Damn it. Where's the garbage? Where's the garbage?
I got one right here.
For 3. Oh, more like a dunk. Come on. Give me a hug.
Oh my!
Give me a hug.
I mean, you know he can't come along.
Good boy. You want to come? You want to come with us? You want to come with us?
Well,
good boy. Good Bravo boy.
I don't think it's allowed to do with Sean no more.
I know. Sad.
Well, don't egg him on.
I thought you said just now that he could come with.
I could, but not him. I'll have to leave him here.
Damn it.
I mean, wait, who's working there?
Brenna?
Maybe she might be okay. I don't know.
We're only gonna be there an hour, dude. It closes at 2.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, well, yeah, fair enough.
Boom, boom, hit that weed. Boom, 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 hit the weed. Boom, boom, hit the weed. Boom, 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 bomb, bomb. Dude, that is actually a pretty nice ass bomb. I hit it the other day. That shit fucked me up.
I remember that. It did fuck you up.
A minor panic attack. Y'all's conversation took me out of it.
Well, I'm glad for that.
Ended up going home throwing the fuck up because I drank too much.
Damn. Oof.
Had like a panic attack again. I haven't smoked weed in like 4 or 5 months, so.
Oh shit, so low tolerance?
That shit fucked me up.
The
mook didn't fuck me up. The weed.
The weed did. Shit. Anyway.
If I do start smoking weed again, it's going to be like, I'm going to go to a fuck ton of dispensaries and find like 4% THC. Like, give me the weakest shit possible. Give me that weak shit, man.
Get like some CBD dominant shit, because
yeah,
usually
for real.
yeah.
On God, dude.
For
Whatever
real,
you had,
for real.
That shit, I was like, I'm too high. Had my brother talk me down and like, yeah, he's like, you're not dying. I'm like, I know I'm not dying, but I feel like I'm dying.
I remember that one time where I got a little too hardcore on that moonshine, where it was you,
the strawberry
dude, that was the same thing, you know, where I was like,
you're over here, just blah.
No, I was right here, but I did migrate over there, and then I had to take a nap over there with like a bucket and a cup of. Oh my!
Let's go. They're gonna close.
Okay.
Man.
I know. All right. Peace out. Fuck you.